Welcome to CounterCultureWISE, a Stormcat production, with your hosts, Melanie Hope and James Monis. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts, our guests, and the dog, and do not necessarily reflect the views of any of our platforms, our advertisers, or any other dog.
As you listen today, please remember, we are so much more than a podcast. All of our stories we discuss are linked in our show notes on CounterCultureWISE.com. Visit there for commentary, guest photos and links, animations, and fun merchandise.
If you have a story idea or would like to be a guest on our show, contact us via our website. You can also follow us on Twitter, Gab, Instagram, Facebook, and all over social media, where we'll post memes, cat pics, and commentary that gets us booted off on a regular basis.
If you're watching our live show, hit like and join the chat. If you're listening dead, well, you can still hit like, share, subscribe, and comment, but please stop voting Democrat. And with the meows of the Maxi Meow, we begin another windy, blustery, CounterCultureWISE radio show.
Yay!
It's not actually windy and blustery outside. It is inside because outside it is over 100 degrees, which means we cannot turn off the studio AC or we will die.
So we will apologize in advance for the sound quality
We're
of this.
We're apologizing in real time.
We certainly are.
Yes, we are. We're not apologizing in advance, nothing. I'm apologizing right dang now. Sorry for the noise, folks. We'll do the best we can. Well, welcome. I am your hostess with mostest, Ms. Melanie Hope, and to my side, in the room with me, on his own mic, far away from the AC, but probably still getting all the good
Yeah, I'm
air.
getting some good air, baby.
Yeah, I ain't getting the air over here. He is my co-host, and as of today, my pastor, Mr. James Monis. Oh, and Babu.
Babu. You know, I haven't babooed for a while on this show. Babu.
My sweet Babu, Mr. James Monis.
Babu.
So, have you babooed enough?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're sick of listening to you babooing.
Yeah, okay.
Where's our joke?
I remember the first time I saw universal remote control. I said to myself, well, that changes everything. Well, you asked for it. I was debating it. No.
I asked for it. Well, do we have a shoe for you today?
We've got some really cool stuff to talk about today.
We do.
And
we want to talk about how well things went today, or do we want to talk about how badly things went earlier?
Let's start with the positive and then go into the debacle.
You're a good news first kind of guy. All right.
Yeah.
So today, I'll just wind this up a little bit. Today, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but there's an opportunity for you to be part of the leadership of a church, and you basically got to lead the whole show. So how did that go?
It actually went really well. This is only the second sermon I'd ever done, and the first one was 40 years ago. So, yeah, I was a little nervous, but you were very gracious in giving me the space to work on the sermon. And, you know, with everything else going on, I was just very, very focused on trying to do the best I could for God. And I think it went pretty well.
I thought it went very well. And even knowing the story, and you didn't actually run it past me. I don't know if you did that on purpose or out of nerves, but I enjoyed it. I mean, you were funny, and I learned something, and you can't ask for much more than that out of a sermon.
That's true. I didn't want to play up, showbiz stuff. I just wanted
to... Which is exactly what I would have done.
Yeah. Melanie sang a couple of beautiful hymns, including the Battle Hymn of the Republic. Our friend Rhonda gave a testimony, although that was not recorded, but it went pretty well. There's going to be the video of the service, most of the service, on the church's Facebook page. It's called Fellowship Faith Church. It's in Waco. So if you want to look up see how I did and judge for yourself, please do so. I may also put it on the Forth on the Fire Ministries. It is coming, guys. It is coming. I've got a big priority ahead of that, and that's what I need to work on right now.
We've been slammed pretty hard with a few other things.
Yeah, so but it will happen. It will happen this month. This month being July, I mean.
And speaking of this month, we did not post our interview this week because of the debate debacle and, of course, the 4th of July. So next Sunday, we have a really great interview coming up. We will be posting. We have 2 interviews in the hopper actually right now and a couple more coming.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are subscribers on Locals, and you can get all the links at CounterCultureWISE.com, you will get those interviews early. In fact, you'll get them all by themselves, and for less than a cup of coffee a day, you too can help for the welfare.
Why is it always cups of coffee?
I don't know, because I think
I started to feel threatened that my coffee is being taken away, and then I don't want to donate to your thing.
Well, it has been taken off of the index for inflation.
Oh, I know,
because it inflated so much.
Yeah.
Insanely, like everything else. I think people see that as an indulgence. And back when they were doing less than a cup of coffee a day, you were paying like $1. But now that we're paying $8 and $9, I don't think that holds true anymore, because I don't think people are willing to pay $8 and $9 a day for pretty much any subscription. So it's actually become its own meme in that people can't even afford that anymore. So.
Right. Well, no, I mean, going to Starbucks or something like that is completely out of the question right now.
Well, I mean, even Dunkin' or McDonald's, it's $4.50 for a cup of
it's crazy.
plain coffee. It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Coffee used to be the absolute cheapest thing you could get.
That was its charm. That woke you up. That helped you form complete sentences.
And in a lot of places, it was even free. So that's where that comes from. Is for the minuscule amount for something that you usually pay $0.25 for. Sometimes even get for free with your meal, and now it's like you go out for Chinese food and you order a hot tea and it's $8.
It's nuts. We don't go out much.
Well, we can't go out much.
Well, I know that, but that's true.
We go out much, but we're completely surrounded by apparently what is that stuff called? The
sorghum.
No, not the sorghum. That's coming out of the bird feeder. The giant crud.
The giant okra.
The thing that everybody is allergic to. Ragweed. We are completely surrounded by giant ragweed, which we're probably going to need a chainsaw to take down. These things are gigantic.
Yeah, I'm going to get a machete.
But I did learn that once they do start seeding, that the seeds are edible and quite good for you. So who knows, maybe we'll go out there and harvest some ragweed seeds.
I'm willing to give it a try.
Couldn't hurt. Anyway, this is a peek into the days of the lives of CounterCultureWISE. Anyways, I'm very proud of you. I thought
thank you.
It was
I
poignant. It was
that.
Biblically based. It was humorous. And head on over to CounterCultureWISE.com after the show, after, and check it out. And he'll probably have it up on his website as well as all our social medias.
We'll put it on today's. I'll put a link to it on our notes. As soon as I know it's up.
Might want to edit it so you take my butt out of it too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the elephant and the big old braying donkey in the room. I don't even know where. Well, actually, I do know where to start with this.
We will say that we had a vision of what this debate was going to be like. We published it a few days ago. We couldn't have been further from the truth, but it was far worse than even we imagined. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and play it just because, we put the effort into it, gang. Come on. Listen up and enjoy.
This is DSN, the Democratic Sycophant Network. Tonight, We Decide 2024 presents the first presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. We now take you live to our studio.
Welcome to tonight's presidential debate. I'm Joe Trapper, and with me tonight is Bano Dash. We are live from our corporate studio. There will be no audience members tonight, as the president has requested. That is totally fine with us, as we couldn't get enough people not wearing red hats interested in being in the audience anyway. Bane?
Thank you, Joke. And now, here are our candidates. First, let us welcome our most beloved leader, who we will remind the audience won by tens of millions of valid votes in 2020, more than any other candidate in the history of the world. Illustrious and totally continent President Joseph R. Biden.
Thank you, Monica. It's a pleasure to be here in Uganda.
We are honored to have you here, sir. And on the other side, we have 34 times convicted felon, rapist, warlord, racist, anti-Semite, racist, failed business owner, and incessant election denier, Dotard Blumph.
I have a feeling this isn't going to go well.
I hope not. Joke, you have the first question.
Thank you, Bane. As the rules stipulate, there will be no crosstalk, no audience, and multiple potty breaks. When not directly addressed, the candidate's microphone will be muted. The mics will also be muted at the 2-minute mark so that the debate will finish on time and I can grab a beer before the bar closes. I will start with Mr. Trump. Sir, what do you think is the most pressing issue facing Americans today, and how would you fix it?
Well, Joke, it's hard to pick just one issue, but let's start with the economy.
It's a dirty lie. The MAGA Republicans started this mess. The unemployment rate was 200 mil, 27,000, 25% when I took office. Billions of Americans couldn't afford their mac and cheese, and the candy bars got smaller.
Why haven't you shut off his mic?
Since Kamala became president, unemployment has dropped to an all-time low of negative 72.5%. The Dow Jones is at 100,000, and sales of 8-track tapes are an all-time high.
Joke. Bane? Hello? Somebody? Turn off his mic.
There are enough high-paying jobs for everyone in the country who wants to work.
Wrong.
Even if they just got here. Thanks to me, everyone can now afford my mandated electric cars, Batman comic books, and Olivia Newton-John concerts.
Wrong. You're lying, Joe. None of that is true.
Please don't interrupt our president, sir.
But he interrupted me. And now he's pulling numbers straight out of his...
Mr. President, we apologize for the interruption. Please continue.
Bane? Joe?
We've also been improving the lives of American workers by tearing down the wall to tighten border security and deporting undocumented migrants to New York City. I said that right, didn't I, Kamala? I know they don't like it when I say illegal aliens. I get in trouble if I go off script.
Joe, everyone knows you're making this up.
It reminds me of the time I worked on my uncle's farm. His name was Horatio Nostradamus O'Leary Hernandez, but my brother and me called him Uncle Janet. He had a huge walnut farm in Ontario, and we worked from dusk till dawn every summer, firing up the sludge pans to keep the trees warm.
That's smudge pots, Joe.
When we harvested the pecans, we had to haul them to gigantic silos. Well, one day those peanuts were overflowing, so we had to drive to Radio Shack to buy another silo. We had to go to 3 different locations because the first 2 had flooded out. Plus we were hungry and stopped for lunch at Bob's Big Boy. Yummy burger. I had a double scoop chocolate cone after that, and boy, did that hit the spot. Ice cream. Anyway, Uncle Janet was met by a gang of angry Lithuanians who beat him senseless with a car antenna while yelling, "This is MAGA country!" He survived only to die in Iraq 40 years later next to my son Bo, who was eaten by cannibals.
Wrong.
I'll never forget his final letter to me, where he wrote this. No lie, he wrote, "The only boy that could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man." I think about him every time I visit Disneyland, or Belgrade, or the gasoline station with Maxine. And that is why I'm entreating my fellow Ebonitians to give me a second term as governor. I will continue to improve our economy, strengthen relations between North and South Korea, and move the Israeli embassy to Jerusalem.
What in the hell are you talking about? I did all that.
Get away from my mic, you leather-wrapped garlic cheddar!
Sir, I shouldn't have to tell you it's bad decorum to use the other person's mic.
And that vulgarity was completely uncalled for.
That cabbage has been rambling on for a full 10 minutes without answering your question or giving me my rightful turn.
Fact check says that it was only 2 minutes and 51 seconds. I think the public has heard all they need to hear.
Drinky time.
Cool, is there going to be cake?
We'll make that happen.
Yay!
Well, since I'm the only one here now, sad.
This concludes the first 2024 debate. Stay tuned for further election coverage from We Decide 2024.
Real sad. Really, really sad. That's sad.
I think we were a little bit more charitable to Joe than
Yeah, actually,
than
we were.
expected. It was so much worse than we even imagined.
And a lot of people said it was going to be pretty much the way that we did it, in a parody style. But a couple of things went really sideways. One thing, to start with, Dana Bash and Jake Trapper did a fantastic job.
I don't know. They were asking real questions. It sounds like a setup to me.
Hard to say, but they stuck to reasonable questions.
Yeah.
And it was, they obviously have a bias. They've made that clear over the years, but that didn't show with this debate, which is good for people who don't normally watch CNN, the sane people. And, oh my God.
It was,
the contrast could not have been bigger.
Yeah, and the copium is absolutely off the charts.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I'm blown away at how hard these people are coping.
I know. I'm going to give Trump credit for, he did his usual hyperbole, best economy ever, that kind of thing. By the way, that wasn't me in the recording doing Trump. That was
Nick Pierce.
That was Nick Pierce, our buddy,
our resident. Well, I wish he was our resident.
Yeah.
Our far, far away when he gets to it, Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. He did his usual hyperbole. He did speak in generalities like he does.
And they're like, "Oh, that's a lie. That's a lie." Well, okay, saying it was the best border ever. Yeah, that's hyperbole. It was a heck of a lot better than it is now.
Yeah.
But outright lying, like Trump called people Nazis fine people, or Trump said to drink bleach, or you inherited a 19% inflation rate, or you had the worst unemployment rate when you came in. I mean, he told lie after lie, and they were
big
whoppers.
stinking whoppers, yeah.
And, that Border Patrol has already endorsed him, and they tweeted out in real time that they never have and never will.
Just like, let's make this really clear, all right?
Yeah, and whopper after whopper. And we're talking like actual hoaxes, Russian collusion. I mean, the list goes on that are totally, even Snopes debunked the fine people hoax.
Yeah.
And, or the losers and suckers. I mean, that was debunked decades ago. I mean, come on.
It was
decades. See, now I'm being hyperbolic. But, I mean, and nobody, they just let him tell these stories that aren't true.
Yeah.
They're just not true. And then they turn around and say that Trump is lying because he says best ever, or, I did a great job. Well, there's a huge difference between exaggerating and flat out lying and propagating hoaxes. And his fine people hoax has divided the nation. And now we see, and I think it's really funny because you listen to Scott Adams, and he really thought that debunking the fine people hoax live and people seeing that would be that catalyst that we needed for people to actually start waking up.
Yeah.
And he admitted maybe he was looking in the wrong place, because what that tent pole that we're going to yank out that's going to just make the whole thing collapse was the people realizing that the media and the White House have been lying to them since 2019. They knew, and they knew for an absolute fact. In fact, Tucker Carlson came out and said, because he knows people, like literally,
right? He
knows people, and his family knew that he was suffering from dementia, and they've known it since he was vice president. And they didn't think that he would make the nomination, but they were so desperate because they had absolutely no real candidates, and they were
Right.
so desperate with Trump. They would have installed they did install a dead fish, basically.
Yeah.
Anything, it didn't matter, but Joe
Well-
had name recognition.
Yeah.
And they didn't think he would win the nomination, and they certainly didn't think he'd win the presidency. So now we're stuck with Dementia Joe in there. And I would not normally make fun of somebody with dementia, but this guy was a traitorous liar his entire career. And what they're doing to him is elder abuse.
And you could see it throughout the entire debate.
Yeah.
He fell asleep for a moment.
Yeah. What they're doing to him is flat out elder abuse. And under any other circumstances, I would be appalled. I would be out in the street saying, you've got to stop this. Let this poor man go. But it's Joe Biden. And knowing what a traitorous, lecherous, lying, conniving, evil, horrible human being he has been his entire life, using the dead bodies of his wife and children, checking his watch as the Marines that he murdered through his inability to do his job, checking his watch as each one comes off the plane, lying about everything he possibly can, separating the nation, calling us Nazis or racists because we believe in our own country, and literally telling half the country that they are terrorists. I don't care. I want to see this man tortured. And the only thing that really upsets me is that his mind is so far gone that I can't enjoy watching him being tortured because he's so far out of it. He doesn't know what these vile people are doing to him. And Jill, Dr. Jill, is at the top of the list. What a horrible, horrific human being.
So
and
this-
the way she talked to him.
Oh, you little boo-boo. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Oh,
You answered
have
all
a
the questions.
biscuit.
What
Oh,
a
my.
humiliating. Every other country is looking at us and going, what are you thinking?
I mean,
And you know-
honestly, Trump said the truth. We're a laughing stock.
We are
right
an
now.
absolute laughing
You know,
stock. And the thing is Democrats, most of them, there's a lot of them that are still in full copian mode, they're waking up and they're like, I think the most hilarious thing, though, is they're blaming the White House. The media has been flat out gaslighting you, well, all through COVID. So basically since take your pick of the year. But this is where they finally saw, wow, they knew, just like Epstein, they knew and they covered it up, and people bought it. People don't check anything. And if you said anything different, they called you the crazy one. They called you the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist. We knew all along. They're just now getting on board. They're just now figuring this out. We've known this all along. And you tell us we're ageist and we're, istophobes, and the list goes down.
Yeah.
Like Tucker, he even joked and said, yeah, they called me racist for saying that Joe Biden was, had dementia. Why couldn't they? I mean, what tiny itty bitty bit of dignity this absolute moron, this tyrannous child sniffing lunatic, what tiny little bit of dignity he could have had, they took that away from him.
And
They put our nation in danger.
And I think some people are waking up because his performance was awful. He's just rambling.
I think it was a perfect
the
performance.
lost look on his face when Trump caught him on his BS. And
I've got a video.
especially with the.
I've got a video. You want to see one of this?
Yeah.
One?
Yeah.
Continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
that and arguing
that was the line of the year.
That and arguing over golf, which I thought was so small and so petty and so hilarious. That was my
I got
that
to
was
play my
favorite
golf game.
Yeah. That was my second favorite line of the night was the golfing thing. That he was more upset over Biden lying over his handicap than he was the absolute whoppers that Biden told, from the Fine People hoax to the Russia collusion hoax to the Stormy thing. And he couldn't wait to say felon, and he couldn't wait to bring his dead son into it. And he brought his dead son into a hoax as well. The Suckers and Loser, complete hoax, absolute hoax. And even Trump said, what kind of moron, what kind of idiot, even if they believe that, which I don't, what kind of moron would say that in front of a general, in front of military people?
Yeah.
Nobody believes this. And Biden's made up this person that told him, we're going to believe you there, Dementia Joe. But,
yeah,
we've been talking about this cabbage that they crammed into office. He did not get 81 million votes, and I will go to my grave saying that. There is no way that man got 81 million votes, and there's no way that 81 million people would have voted for a cabbage. I still believe in my country, and I cannot believe that we have that many gaslit morons out there willing to destroy the nation because they're afraid of a guy who did really good for 4 years. Well, 3 years until they took him out with COVID. And that's the other thing. A little mini ginger snaps going on here.
Mini?
I am so sick of hearing about how he's going to be a dictator and how he's going to take away your rights and how women are going to be forced to have babies and how all this BS is going to happen because he didn't do it for the 4 years he was in office, you toadstools. He's not going to do it now. He even said that his revenge is going to be doing a good job. And if people actually ever got to listen, do you know that they cut him off? Even his inauguration speech, they cut him off. Oh, we don't need to hear any more of this. So nobody's ever actually heard the man. They only hear what people like Rachel Madcow says about him. And they built their opinions based on phony, false, altered hoaxes. And now that chicken's coming home to roost.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh. But this debate, it actually spurred the God Almighty New York Times and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, or having lived there once, the Atlanta Urinal and Constipation.
Oh my!
They're a good newspaper, but they both said, for the sake of the Democratic Party and for the sake of America, Biden needs to step down. It was that disastrous. I have loyal Democrat friends on Facebook saying, we're screwed.
Yeah, and he won't. And they can't take him out of office because then we'd have Kamala.
Yeah.
And they can't bypass her either. They can't just say, okay, we're running somebody else.
Yeah, that would be...
Because they would talk about istophobes. You can't bypass the first black Indian woman. Ooh! She's
a cackling hose beast who hasn't done anything. She's an idiot.
Who slept her way.
That's not a political statement. She's certifiably dumb.
And she has...
We have the situation, and the situation is a situation. And I think that everybody knows that this is a situation.
And I love school buses and Venn diagram graphs. I'd rather have Fran Drescher up there. Actually, Fran Drescher's pretty smart. So
yeah, Fran Drescher's got a head on her shoulders.
And seriously, though, she only got the part because she checked all the bigot boxes. And you go back 4 years during the primaries when they picked old Joe, and you mark my words because I said it back then. She's going to be the candidate because she checks the bigot boxes. And I was right. I knew she'd never be president because nobody likes her. She couldn't even get 1%. That's why she dropped out. Actually, I think she got paid to drop out because they promised her the vice presidency because they knew they were going to install old Joe like a used toilet. And by God, she wanted that power and she's got it. And she's a disgrace to our country. The little black Raggedy Ann that sits there and spins lies is an embarrassment to the country. And the so-called president who I don't want to be as petty as the cronies from the harpies on The View. But I really do struggle calling him the president because I know damn well nobody voted for him. And those who did vote for him were people like the harpies on The View.
Right.
Who shouldn't even be allowed to vote. Let's just put that out there. They thought that Dr. Jill Biden should be the Surgeon General. Because Whoopi thought she was an amazing doctor. It's like, Whoopi, you are so ill-informed. You just make stuff up and people take her seriously. She literally said out of her face hole on live television that Jill Biden should be the Surgeon General because she's an amazing doctor. Oh, Joe, you did so good. You did good for you, Joe.
And he just stood there looking like Joe.
Yeah,
Well, she did it.
He had no idea where he was. No idea.
And
then
of course, at the end of the debate,
and then his meds kick in the next
at the end
day.
of this debacle, he starts wandering around, so she grabs him and says, "This way, Joe. No, this way, Joe. No,
Here's the step.
This step."
Yeah, they got that on video too. The copium is absolutely hilarious.
And I know there are people who watched this and said, "Well, at least Joe's not a liar. He is." But anyway, I'd rather.
There is nothing.
There
is not a single word that came out of that man's face that was A, understandable, and B, if you could understand it, wasn't a lie. His entire campaign, the first one, was built around a hoax, a verifiably false hoax that even Snopes, the left-leaning Soros-funded organization, finally had to say, okay, yeah, watch the video. It's literally the opposite. He literally says the opposite.
Oh, and
he's still running on that.
Yeah.
He's still running on that hoax, the drink bleached hoax. The Hunter's laptop wasn't real hoax. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Every single thing that fell from his drooling face was a lie.
And the cool thing is,
Trump lied
and by the way, we played a drinking game. I probably shouldn't admit that. For every time that Joe said, the idea!
I'm never drinking again. We literally popped popcorn and
because we knew it was going to be. It was better than we thought it would be, but so much worse.
It was entertainment gold, and yet
I
forget who it was that tweeted it, but the absolute sentiment, literally, who is running the country? Who is running the country? And we've been telling you since the day they installed him.
We being conservative
it's
media.
not him. It's
definitely not him.
It's not him. And they've been calling us conspiracy theorists and ageist and blah, 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 blah. And now they're like, oh my gosh, no, we have been gaslit. And what's going to happen in the next couple of days, and you can watch it, it'll be hilarious. The next couple of days, you're going to see cognitive dissonance set in. And we've already got some of the excuses. Oh, we had a cold. Really?
Colds don't make you sundown. Even the medication for colds doesn't make you sundown.
Yeah,
he was sundowning hardcore, and
I've had to deliver keynotes with the flu.
Yeah,
and I'm on massive cold medicine, and it didn't look nothing like that. And yeah, my favorite is how awful the administration was for doing that to him, for putting him out there. For putting the President of the United States, who should be on alert 24 hours a day and able to run the largest, freest nation on the planet, for putting him in front of cameras. They should feel bad because they just proved beyond a shadow of the doubt that the man is not fit for office and never, ever was. He never was. People, this whole thing about the stutter, that's a complete hoax too. He never had a stutter. And you can go back all the way to the 1970s. It's never mentioned. It's never talked about. And you can watch him on video. He did not have a stutter. They made that up to cover for his dementia.
And
they made it up.
And you got to remember, folks, Trump said, I will debate him. You can even set all the rules.
It was hilarious. Will you do it on a boat? Will you do it with a goat? Will you do it here or there? Will you do it anywhere? It was a Dr. Seuss, all the things that he had to comply with.
And so, no audience. That actually played in Trump's favor. Shutting off the mics. That also worked in Trump's favor. It all worked in Trump's favor, even though Biden got to call all the shots.
Yeah. He got to pick what side of the stage. He got to, everything.
Yeah. And Don Trump beat Don Corleone, just mopped the floor with him.
Well, other people are saying, well, this wasn't really a win for Trump because...
Oh, it was a win for Trump, whatever they want to say. It was a win for Trump.
Sadly,
more of a loss for Biden than it was a win for Trump. Trump was just being Trump.
It was a loss for the entire nation.
Well, there's that too.
Even if you hate the guy in office, you want the nation to do well. And I think this is where... people have lost their ever-loving minds on both sides.
Both sides, to be fair, yeah.
Even when Bummer got put into office. And I didn't like him not because of the color of his skin. And let's just, be grown-ups about that. I don't give a crap about the color of his skin or what his wife has between his or hers or its legs. I don't care. I care, is he going to make America a good place to live? Is he going to have our interest at heart? And no, he didn't. He didn't like America. In fact, his wife said that was the first time she'd ever been proud of America, was seeing them install him. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. You should not be in office if you're not proud of the nation you're about to lead. You want someone in the presidency who's going to serve us well. And so you wish them well, even if you don't like them.
Absolutely.
And that all changed with Trump. People were wishing him evil and hoping he would die, and they wanted to bomb the White House. And I mean,
every time one of his relatives dies, it's like, wrong Trump.
Yeah. How petty and small do you have to be to say things like that? And they'll talk about whatever on one side and whatever on the other side and istophobe and this and that. They are so small that they can't even see how small they are. And to say things like that is just disgusting. But what do you expect from a bunch of child-hating perverts that literally mutilate or just flat out rip their own children to shreds? What do you expect from them? This divide is too wide. I have former friends that even if they came crawling back on their hands and knees begging me to forgive them, it's like, well, how can we ever see eye to eye again? You called me a Nazi. You told me I was crazy, and you'll do it again. This can't be fixed.
It's damaged. It's badly damaged.
And Biden made it worse by using the fine people hoax, by calling us Nazis and terrorists. He made it worse. He did not unite America. He divided it further. Obama caused the racial division that the likes of which we haven't seen since the 1950s. I grew up in a non-racist world. And when it did happen, it was so shocking, so utterly just, you took a step back and people would rise up and say, no, this is not okay. It was so rare. It was shocking. And now it's just, I'm just going to make it up. I was just walking down the middle of a winter vortex and a bunch of white guys jumped down and threw bleach on me. It's an everyday thing. It's not even true. You're so desperate to find it, you're making it up. Garage pulls now are something that we have to have a slow walk through NASCAR and you're somehow a hero just because you showed up in that particular color of skin. That's ridiculous. Obama made the nation racist again. Good job, buddy. And then we installed, Toilet Water Joe, and he divides us even further. And it's gotten to the point where it used to actually cut me deeply. There are people in my life that I miss terribly. But knowing that they even pretended to believe that I was a racist, or I was a conspiracy theorist, or I was crazy, to the point where they were willing to cut me off and treat me like I'm not even human. They showed what they are. It was like the trash taking itself out. And like I said, that can't be fixed. I cannot look into the eyes of someone who called me a racist or a Nazi or an idiot or a moron, knowing damn well I teach biology, and be friends with that person. And you know what? I don't want to. Because when we get invaded by either China or Russia, whoever's going to invade us next, since our nation is so weak, we have no borders. We're basically already invaded. They're just waiting for the word. All they need is arms. And there's states now that are saying, oh yeah, they should be allowed to have arms, even in states where our own citizens aren't allowed to be armed. Their Supreme Courts are saying absolutely these undocumented military-age men who ran over the border illegally, they should be allowed to carry guns. Babe, we've imported our own enemy. You watch what's coming over that border. What's being sent everywhere. They have big groups in every major city in this country right now of military-age men who are getting fed and clothed, and in some cases they get to go to school, they get medical care, all the things that we can't afford thanks to Joe. And they're building an army, or built, it's probably past tense by now. They're going to take us from within, and there ain't going to be a dang thing we can do about it because our own government wants to disarm us.
This will end if Trump is elected president. It'll go back. It'll start heading back to where it needs to be.
They're going to kill him.
I don't know.
They're going to kill.
I don't know.
They're going to kill him. That's the only thing left they can do. Because even if they throw him in prison, he'll still win. They're going to have to kill him. Mark my words.
I'd rather not. Thank you.
The way I see, the way
with
I
all
see,
due respect, I
no,
don't
I'm not saying that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's not what I want at all. But this is what they're going to do. They're going to find a way to get rid of Joe. And they're probably going to do it in a way that makes it look like some mega extremist had something to do with it. And then there's going to be a retaliation, and they're going to martyr Trump. Or vice versa. They kill Trump first, and then they say some MAGA extremists took out Joe. And probably Kamala, because we can't get rid of her any other way. I'm not saying it because that's what I want to happen. No, God forbid. What I think would be hilarious, though, and I was telling Jim we should probably do a sketch about it, is if they do try to impeach him, which they won't, but if they do, I think Republicans should just vote no over and over. It's like, hey, he's who you wanted. What? You kept telling us we were crazy for pointing out that he's demented and has been for at least 2 decades. We're not going to vote him out. That would be mean. You're ageist. How dare you? If I were a Republican right now, that's exactly what I'd be. If I were a Republican, yeah, well, I'm not. But if I were in office, and that's exactly, I'd be like, I ain't voting to get him out. I mean, first of all, we'd be stuck with Kamala, and second of all, he's who they want. They've been singing his praises up one side and down the other, and trying to convince the American people who are working or trying to find work, paying their bills or trying to pay their bills, and just trying to exist from day to day in the absolute crappiest economy since, well, my lifetime, in my entire lifetime, because I'm not old enough to really remember the Carter years, but the crappiest, I mean, we're talking Great Depression levels. There are houses sitting empty because people can't afford to live in them. People can't afford to buy groceries. We were just trying to buy hamburger the other day, and we've been priced out of ground beef. We can't buy the cheapest hamburger. It's, what, $6-7 a pound?
Yeah.
I mean, that was your go-to.
It depends on where you go and how. I mean,
that was the cheapest.
You can get it for like $3-ish a pound,
but you
got to buy a gigantic 10-pound tube of the stuff, and we don't usually need that.
Well, I mean, even if we were to freeze it, we don't have $50 that we can spend on that much at once, you know. By the way, if you'd like to go to CounterCultureWISE.com, you can support this show. There are many ways to support this show. One of which, of course, is to just send us some dough.
Send us some dough, vote dough.
But we also
do
have
it now, don't you know?
We'll be adding some new merch to our store. And then, of course, we have books and all kinds of fun things over there. Speaking of books, we are going to have a couple of amazing authors coming up in our actually several in a row now. So I guess
we've got
we
a
could
whole
call it
bunch
our
of them lined
author
up,
series.
so.
We will shamelessly plug authors who come on and spend some time with us. We have a couple of really, really good ones coming up. We were actually going to run one today. We kind of said we were going to last week, but with all the stuff going on, I didn't want the poor person who wrote a children's book to be up against old Cabbage Joe and his child sniffing ways, and probably what was going to be a continuous ginger snap.
Did you say cabbage? I'd like some cabbage.
Yeah, with the
cabbage
chocolate
is
ice
yummy.
cream. Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't want that poor person to be up against
corned beef.
I love corned beef and cabbage, but we're priced out of that too.
Yeah, we're priced out of water, for Pete's sake.
Also, if everything or anything that I've said today has really, really upset you, you know, we are very fair here at CounterCultureWISE, and we do want to hear from you. So head on over to CounterCultureWISE.com. You can click on the ID10T form, fill it out, let us know what you thought, you know, how we can improve, and let us know everything we did wrong, and of course we will give it the attention that it deserves.
And I do want to address one thing you said, respectfully and with all the love in my heart for my amazing, amazing wife. If one of our friends comes back to us and says, "Be my friend again," or, I mean, we should forgive them if they're sorry for what they did.
I'm not saying don't forgive them.
Yeah.
I just don't trust them. Because if they'll call you a Nazi and call you a racist, why would you want that
breaking
person
bread
around
with you? And
we literally got a friend that we married in our home. I did the photography and Jim did the service in our own home, in our living room. Call us racist and say that voting for Trump meant that we didn't want her to be allowed to marry their husband because they were interracial. Okay, first of all, show me where at any time ever Trump has been racist at all.
I mean, really, folks. I mean, honestly,
and
truly
to say
racist.
that we who took them into our home, performed the ceremony, their wedding vows took place in our home. I have photographic evidence. And to turn around and call us such a vile, vitriolic, venomous thing. I like my V's today. And mean it to the point where they blocked us on Facebook. And you know, we used to actually speak to the husband because he's the reasonable one. That can't be fixed.
No,
you cannot call someone those names and then turn around and say, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Now that I know I've been gaslit for 4 years by a press that was lying to me, you can't fix that. I mean, you can be friends with them, I guess, but I don't want them in my home. Because if they can do that over something that minuscule, that is so easily fact-checked, so easy to find the truth on that. It doesn't even take stay off of Google because that's curated, but it doesn't take, but watch the original speech. Even listen to a few words he has to say. Look at his track record. Be reasonable. Listen to logic. It wouldn't take that much. So easy to fix, and they chose instead to call us those awful, awful things.
Yeah.
What's going to stop them?
Melanie on a very deep level.
Well, and what's going to stop them from doing it the next time? You know,
nothing.
You're calling me a Nazi now, but you'd be the first one to throw me to the Nazis if they came knocking on the door. If you're willing to throw me away like so much garbage and call me a maggot and whatever, how am I the Nazi in this scenario? You dehumanized me. You were my friend. And I wish there were a couple people, I even want to name names, that I wish would listen to this. You were my friend. I had your back. And you threw me away like I wasn't even human. There is no way to fix that. And we're looking at a good half of the nation that has done that to their family, to their friends, sometimes even to their children. That can't be fixed.
Families broke up over this.
And over lies. Absolute lies. And what's so sad is we tried to tell you. We tried to show you. Even within our own family. He said this. No, he didn't. I can prove it. I don't want to see that. And she leaves the house. She left the house because she didn't want to see the truth. Our own family. This can't be fixed. I mean, they might be sorry, but now that we know that's what you are, you cannot be trusted. Because you have proven that you are willing to fall for anything. And you will throw your own family, your own friends, people who loved you, people who cared for you, people who had your back, people who would have defended you in the same scenario. You proved that you would be willing to throw them away over a hoax. This can't be fixed.
And so it is.
And I'm a pretty dang charitable person.
You live with me. Trust me. I understand.
Anyways, welcome to a 30-minute Ginger Snaps.
Yeah. I had a feeling we wouldn't have to have a whole lot, but let's continue. Because we do have some really strange stories.
We have some fun
about
stories
a singer
today.
from a well-known band, for example, who got treated horribly at a hospital recently. We've got shoe phones, just like Get Smart. We've got
well, let's without further ado. Without further ado. What are we doing?
What are we doing? News of the weird and wonderful.
News of the weird and wonderful.
Melanie
Wait,
Hope and
I could do
Jim
this.
Monos.
I could do this. Hold on. Wait, I could do this. Here, you.
CounterCultureWISE is proud to present News of the Weird and Wonderful. Here are your hosts, Melanie Hope and Jim Monos.
I told you I could do it.
Yay, Melanie Hope.
Yay!
You did such a good job.
Such a good boy. Have a cookie. Have a cookie.
You pushed all the buttons and you. Anyway.
Like I said, there was a time where I was watching. We're talking Claire 3 back in 2019. I'm watching this, thinking this poor man.
Yeah.
Why are they trotting this poor man out? He barely knows where he is. He can barely string two sentences together.
And it's only gotten worse.
And it's cruel. They can't run this man, and then they did. And I actually felt sorry for him, and then I started learning, because I didn't know who he was. I knew he was the vice president, and he was known as being stupid. But that's about all I knew, because nobody cared.
Right.
You know, he had memes. Nobody looks back to the Obama years.
The Joe and Obama memes were funny.
They were funny.
They were funny.
And most of it was because Joe was stupid. And that was kind of the meme.
That's not what it means, Joe.
Yeah. And those were funny memes. And the problem is, nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers the man has been known as the stupidest man in office since, I believe, the early 80s.
Right.
And when he took office, clear back, you know, he basically...
71, I think it was.
Yeah, and he's used the corpse of his dead wife and baby girl, and now the corpse of his son, who, by the way, was a grown-ass adult, died later in his life, died of the same brain tumor that my mom died of, and she'd never been to Iraq. He's got to stop saying he died in Iraq. He actually corrected himself during the debate, though, and said, and then because of. Still a lie, Joe.
It's a stretch.
Still a lie. You know, but he will use anything he can. He will lie. He will connive. He ruined the life of the man who his wife plowed into. She ran into him. She ran a stop sign and ran into him. And it's horrifying that those poor little boys had to go through what they went through and losing their mom and losing their sister. It's awful. I'm not saying it's not. But he brutalized that man. Said that he drank his lunch and all this stuff, ruined his life, and it was a lie. That's the first lie that he told in public office, and he never stopped telling it, knowing it was a lie. Knowing it was a lie. And he used that lie to garner more power, and then, of course, he got Jill, and there's some sketchiness going on there, because her first husband flat out said, yeah, they were dating while we were still married. Before we had filed for divorce, before that was even a thing. Her first husband says that. Of course, they tell this fairy tale story about how he saw her in an ad for something. It completely made up. Every story Joe tells, from talking to dead conductors on trains that went over bridges that didn't exist, you know, while driving trucks that he's never been in, to beating up a black dude with a chain, they're all made up. They're all made up, and people bought it. And I can't understand. I mean, he's been called out so many times, and they're just like, "Oh, that's just a Joe." The man is in charge of he's not. The idea of the man is in charge of the nation. I don't know who's running the country. People speculate it's Jill. People speculate it's Obama. I think it's a group of people, but it ain't him. Yeah. He doesn't even know where he is. Gosh, I did not mean to continue going. Let's talk about it.
So, hey.
Hey, ice cream.
Hey, ice cream.
Joe's favorite subject. Joe's, let's talk about.
I just, I don't have a watch, but I'm going to. Anyway.
Well, there aren't any dead Marines being pulled off a plane, so nobody needs to check.
Oh, dear. Okay, good. Ice cream. Ice cream, everybody.
Ice cream.
Have you ever had one ice cream? Oh. Are we doing that?
We're doing it.
We're doing it. Have you ever had one ice cream flavor you loved, and then one day it disappears in the freezer aisle? Not just ice cream, but soda flavors, tortilla chip flavors, all kinds of stuff. For those who have experienced that.
For me, it was nuts. Yeah. It's always the nuts.
And it's always, we're not going to give the name of the store away, but its initials are TJ's. For those who experienced that heartbreak, Bluebell announced a new tournament to bring back one of 16 of their discontinued flavors. It's called the Great Scoop Revival Flavor Tournament, and it puts 16 fan favorite flavors head to head in a bracket where only one flavor will win out. Now, Bluebell isn't available everywhere, but it is available here in Texas and very high quality. For the first round, Bluebell is pairing similar flavors, and fans will vote to decide which one advances. The Texas-based creamery is only available in 23 states, mostly across the Southeast. They offer 24 year-round flavors like their iconic homemade vanilla and Dutch chocolate. Several seasonal options rotate in and out of production throughout the year. This summer's flavors include Tin Roof and Gooey Butter Cake to celebrate their expansion into the St. Louis market. According to a spokesperson, the creamery has produced more than 300 flavors throughout the company's history. Okay, here are the flavor matchups for round one.
Ding, ding, ding.
Strawberry cheesecake versus blueberry cheesecake.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Blueberry.
Yeah, blueberry.
Groom's cake versus red velvet cake. Well, I'd have to try those.
I don't know what groom's cake is.
I have no idea. Hot fudge brownie versus raspberry fudge brownie. Why did I even bother saying hot fudge brownie?
Exactly. I don't like raspberry.
Gingerbread house versus cherry amaretto cordial. Oh, cherry
I'd have
amaretto.
To try both of them.
They'd both be delicious. Tiramisu versus mocha madness.
Okay,
I think
those
Melanie
would taste
and I,
identical, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they taste almost exactly the same?
I don't know. I'm going for mocha madness because mocha implies coffee.
Tiramisu is coffee as well.
Well, dang. I guess I don't care which one then.
Yeah.
Key lime pie versus Creole cream cheese. Key lime. Lemon bliss versus cookie cake. Lemon bliss.
Lemon bliss.
Triple chocolate versus triple caramel. Triple chocolate.
Caramel.
For me. All right. Well, we're going to have to... I'm actually going to go to the website and vote. That's got to happen. Anyway.
But if you don't get to try the flavors, how do you know which ones to vote on? So do you want to predict who's going to make it all the way through? I'm going to say blueberry cheesecake.
I'm going to say...
Or mocha madness, one of the two.
Because a lot of these are very similar to ice creams that other dairies have.
That's true.
I mean, if I were to walk into a Bluebell store, if there was such a thing like walking into Baskin Robbins, for example, I'd probably raspberry fudge brownie, but I don't know. I mean, one of my favorite coffee drinks is a raspberry mocha.
Yeah,
so
raspberry fudge brownie does sound rather decadent, and we've got to stop
but so does
talking
cherry
about,
amaretto cordial.
We got to stop talking about ice cream.
Something I'm not going to be able to buy right now because diabetes and money, and
economy.
Things. Don't need to do that to myself.
No,
or to you. Okay, but it was beautiful. It was beautiful while it lasted.
Wow, so this is actually a thing, because here we would just vote him in whether you're dead or whatever.
But it takes a lot to accomplish this. I've got to give this person credit.
Is it an actual live human being?
Yep.
Because we'll vote in dead people here.
I know.
We did many times.
Yep.
A Canadian man has become the first candidate in the nation's history to receive 0 votes in a contested federal election.
Yeah.
Wow, that is...
Not some city hall crap. No, this is...
Felix Antoine Hamel was one of the 84 candidates to run in a Toronto by-election after he and 76 others were approached by election reform group Longest Ballot Committee, which packed the race with candidates to successfully create the longest ballot in Canadian history.
So it was deliberate, okay.
Okay, well that makes sense. So 76 others, but they ended up with 84 total. Why did they want such a long ballot? Amal was the only candidate in the race to receive 0.
Congratulations,
He didn't even vote for himself. That is so sad. Imagine running for office and not even voting for yourself.
He wasn't able to.
His own mommy didn't vote for him. His wife. Nobody.
He wasn't able to vote for himself.
You can't vote. Why not? Everybody votes for themselves.
Finish the sentence.
Okay, fine. He said he didn't even vote for himself because he is not and therefore not eligible to cast a ballot. Well, then how is he allowed to run if he's not even a resident? Wow. When I saw the result, I was like, well, I am the true unity candidate. Everyone agrees to not vote for me. cute, actually. The Library of Parliament database confirmed Emil was the first candidate in the country's history to fail to receive a single vote in a contested election. Other candidates have run in uncontested races and won without a single vote. Wait. Other candidates have run in uncontested races.
Right. They're the only
won without a
candidates,
single
so
vote.
yeah, it doesn't matter if you cast a vote for them or not. So.
Wouldn't you feel bad, though, if you ran and literally nobody voted for you, but you still got to fill that office? Wouldn't you just feel like a placeholder?
I'd feel like, yo, I've got an office, pay me.
See, I would be humiliated by that. I would literally be humiliated. Maybe I'm just too competitive for my own good. 6 other candidates in Emil's race received only 2 votes each. Man, that's 2 more than he got. Emil said he wasn't exactly surprised by his showing in the election, but he was amused to learn of his unusual new distinction. That's actually quite hilarious.
I'm one of the last people that would be expected to make Canadian history in any way, he said.
Oh, dear.
Okay. This is pretty darn disgusting.
You? I love that they have pictures.
Oh, boy. Residents of a Connecticut neighborhood are dealing with
I'm not going to play this video, ladies and gentlemen.
Please don't. Residents of a Connecticut neighborhood are dealing with a stinky situation after a manure truck rolled over, collided with a car, and spilled its odoriferous cargo.
I like that word, odoriferous.
I said it right, too.
Yes, you did.
Ann Bedard, whose house is located at the intersection of Deerfield Road and Bremen Hollow Road in Pomfret, said she heard the sound of the crash and rushed to investigate. She discovered a manure truck had rolled over and struck her neighbor's car, causing it to spray manure on her yard, a neighbor's yard, and their homes.
Oh.
It was like literally a waterfall of brown, Bedard told WVIT-TV. All of a sudden, we see the sewer come out of the truck, and then the petrol was coming out of the top. It was just flooded down our property. Nicholas Provost...
So they could literally have flaming poo throughout their...
Flaming poo, got down a flaming poo.
It was like the Biden debate all over again.
Oh, my, yeah. Nicholas Provost, co-owner of M. Provost Trucking, was on the scene with the team Wednesday to help clean up the spill. We're going down 3 or 4 inches to make sure that nothing seeped beyond that, Provost said. Then we'll come back in tomorrow with fresh material and seed and replace everything that gets dug up today.
They're going
they're taking care of it. Fire Department Chief Brett Sheldon said the cause of the Tuesday evening crash is still under investigation. He said the driver of the truck sustained only minor injuries.
So we don't know what caused the crash?
Nope, not yet.
Yuck. Blech. Well, it's nice that they're cleaning it up because a lot of companies these days won't even take responsibility and would just be like, sucks to be you. I should have let you read this one because I know you're a huge fan.
When you believe. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read it.
You want to go ahead and read it?
Yeah, I'll read it. It's fine. So, Samsung is channeling the 1960s TV series Get Smart with its newest tech release, the Shortcut Sneaker, with which one can make phone calls.
Oh, so this is real? I thought this was a joke.
It's real. Gizmodo reported that the phone is operated with foot movements that are recognized by motion sensors in the soles. Sadly, you're not likely to get your dogs into them anytime soon. The company is making just 6 pairs available only to Samsung members in the Netherlands who enter a drawing by July 9th.
Did anybody hear that and actually envision their dog wearing shoes?
It's not an often used term for shoes
it used to be
anymore.
My dogs are barking, and that's about the only time you would say that when your feet hurt at the end of the day.
But yeah, and that was the entire article. I went to Gizmodo and they made no mention of Get Smart or Max or any of that. So I just decided to read the short version, which is fine anyway. I don't want to bore our audience. But
this goes off into other
Mel Brooks was visionary apparently. So, by the way,
it wouldn't be the first time.
He just hit birthday number, I think 89, something like that. He's like, yeah, he old.
Yeah.
So, but still full of energy, still one of the funniest men on the planet.
Not allowed to be funny anymore. And then
he said numerous times he wouldn't be able to make Blazing Saddles today, which is my favorite movie of his, and actually also one of my favorite westerns. So, because it does have all the classic elements of a good western.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next one is put in just for fun. In a hilarious and unexpected twist, a group of women dressed to the nines, so they're probably like DAR or something like that. My grandma was
I'm
always
sorry, I need to correct myself. He is 98 years old.
98. So he's the same age as Biden, and yet he can still speak and laugh
And vote for Biden.
vote.
Anyway,
Which he probably
he probably did.
Anyways, in a hilarious and unexpected twist, a group of women dressed to the nines faced an unusual challenge, the fart machine test. The rules were simple. If you laugh, you're out. So I actually downloaded this video because it's kind of adorable.
If you laugh at the fart machine, you're out.
One loses it immediately. I like how they pass the button around so they have to actually press the button so they know it's coming.
Miriam is doing so good. Miriam is killing it. Cold-hearted snake. I can't with these two.
What am I looking at?
Button on the end there. It's a word. Button on the end. Y'all, Miriam is fucking.
Oh my God. That last one sounded like a question. That was funny.
Say what you will about us human beings, but we all share in certain things. Okay, you're going to like this next one.
All right. Concerts are magical places where dreams sometimes come true. This was certainly the case for Jake, a young fan who attended a concert by RPG, the UK's #1 event and cover band. How about that? Holding up a sign that read, "Let me play guitar with you." That was a gutsy move.
Yeah, he held up a sign.
Smart move. Jake caught the attention of the lead singer who approached him in the audience and asked about his favorite band. Jake's answer, Guns N' Roses. In a moment that must have felt surreal, the singer invited Jake on stage to play guitar for the iconic song, "Sweet Child of Mine." Despite the pressure, Jake delivered an incredible performance, nailing every part of the song, including its notoriously difficult solos, because those are
okay, so I chopped it up a little bit because I didn't want to play the whole song. So forgive the skips, but you get the gist.
What's your favourite band? Wrong answer, RPJ first, but what's your second favourite band? RPG, close enough. Do you think you can seriously have one? Like, genuinely, you've made a sign. Sam, have we got a spare guitar? Okay. So, I think I've got a new member of the band. This is what happens when you make a sign. So, is it making noise?
Is it making noise?
Hold on. Okay. Yep.
And you know, the kid was not cocky at all.
No.
So, Guns N' Roses then? What should we do? Really?
He's lucky they know the song.
Ladies and gentlemen, no idea what this is going to happen. He says he can do it. Get up for Jake! Yes! Everyone, hands in the air!
Keep in mind, he's 10. He's 10 years old.
Wow. It didn't say that in the copy here.
There's a solo. Okay, where's your 10-year-old? He's having so much fun.
Unbelievable.
The Slash is
obviously
a dang good guitar player. This kid.
Yeah, Slash is no slouch. Unbelievable.
Okay, now get off stage. You're showing us up. Ladies and gentlemen, what just happened? A 10-year-old has just out-shredded my guitarist.
Wow.
Truly amazing, right?
So
Well,
that was fun. I
if
thought you'd appreciate
Axel,
that.
if Slash falls ill before a show now and Axel needs a replacement, I
Well,
think
there
he
you
knows
go.
who to
Are
call.
those two still playing together? I thought
Yeah, they
liked each
reunited.
other.
They hate that. Doesn't matter. They
Oh.
hate each other, but they're back together again.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
Yeah.
money to be made.
lots. But yeah, that guy, that kid's incredible.
Isn't he great? That was so much fun. What a little powerhouse. I think he's probably going to end up on America's Got Talent or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might not even take that much. He'd probably find himself in a band now, no matter what, because this video went pretty viral.
Good. Yeah, it's a TikTok, so off it went. All right, this next one, you know how I loves me some science.
Yes.
Let's talk about the
Very
earliest,
sciencey.
most distant galaxy discovered. Ooh. So let's read about this, see what it says. For 2 years, an international team has been exploring what astronomers refer to as the cosmic dawn, the period in the first few 100 million years following the Big Bang where the first galaxies were born. Using NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, which actually is almost as many syllables as saying James Webb Space, I guess,
You might as well just say it.
telescope, yeah. They've now discovered, I think they just call it the Webb. They've now discovered two of the earliest and most distant galaxies yet confirmed, dating back to just a wee little teeny tiny 300 million years after the Big Bang. These galaxies mark a major milestone in the study of the early universe, according to the University of California, Santa Cruz astronomer Brent Robertson, who co-led the team working in JADES, which is the JWST Advanced Deep Extragalactic Survey. I hope they have badges, and I hope they're shiny and they look like little comm units from Star Trek. Because if they don't, I would be very disappointed with a name like that.
Very disappointed.
This discovery is completely unanticipated and is likely to be seen as the most significant extragalactic... Why am I having trouble with the word extragalactic? Since when is that a word? Extragalactic?
Extragalactic.
That means when you leave the Battlestar Galactica and you go visit one of the other ships, you're extragalactic now.
Yeah. You're extragalactic. You're beyond the stars.
I think, to me, extragalactic sounds like I ate too much garlic and now I have gas.
I didn't write the word, dearest. What are you yelling at me for?
I'm yelling at you because you're right there. Okay. So this is the most
Bahiga Baherga.
extravagant extragalactic extremity ever discovered. Yay, said dude. So in one paper, the authors concluded with high redshift galaxy populations now established fewer than 300 million years after the Big Bang, we have extended our reach into the cosmic past by 40% during the first 18 months of JWST operations. Redshift refers to an effect caused by the expansion of the universe, where the wavelength of light from distant galaxies stretches as it travels. In these newly discovered galaxies, the effect is extreme, stretching by a factor of 15 and moving even the ultraviolet light of the galaxies to infrared wavelengths, where only JWST has the capability to see it. I'm not going to go into too much more detail, but it is fascinating. So, of course, we will have this up on CounterCultureWISE.com. Now, see, that's why we can't have nice things. All right, this one is all yours.
Good thing. The Four Tops are my favorite Motown band by far. I mean, I love this.
Really?
I love the Supremes. I love the Temptations, but there was something about the original lineup of the Four Tops. Just Levi Stubbs' voice, just so distinctive.
Iconic, yeah.
And plus, I can sing his songs by him.
Well, there you go.
That always helps.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He's had a few replacements since then.
Aren't these guys all like a million?
Yeah, the one original member is Duke Fakir, and he is 88 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and they started back in 1953, and yeah, he's still performing with them as of today.
Well, I wish our president at the same age could perform.
That'd be nice.
The difference.
Oh my God. Anyway, this is about the current lead singer. The lead singer of Motown's legendary Four Tops has sued a Michigan hospital claiming racial discrimination after staff members assumed he was delusional when he said he was in the group and placed him in a restraining jacket.
So why would they assume he's delusional? I mean, I could understand if he was some white dude and walked in, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the lead singer of the Four Tops." I'm like, sure. No, I'm Michael Jackson, I swear. Sure. All right.
Well, Alexander Morris, 53, who is, surprise, black.
Well, duh.
Why do they do that?
I don't know.
And
it's capital B black.
Yeah, capital
Not
B
just
black.
any black, but capital B black.
Yeah.
Just bad grammar, frankly.
It is, but it's common usage now.
No, it's not.
Well, it's common. I didn't say it was right. I said it was common. Anyway, he joined the iconic vocal quartet in 2018. He went to Ascension Macomb Oakland Hospital in Warren on April 7, 2023.
So he's like 97 years old, and he's in there saying, 87 years old, and he's got cardiac distress. They should be like, right this way, sir. Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Well, no, he's 53. Like I say, he's a newer member.
Oh, he's the new one.
The new guy, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it says 53 right there. I'm like, derf. Okay.
I just read it.
I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking.
That's okay.
So he's still not old, but
he's of the right age to be
he's of heart attack age.
He's of heart attack age, and as I too darn well know, the clear symptoms of cardiac distress. He had difficulty breathing and chest pain, and he was placed on oxygen, said the federal lawsuit filed Monday in the Eastern District of Michigan. However, when he informed a nurse and security guard in the emergency room that he was a member of the Four Tops and had security concerns because of stalkers and fans, they didn't believe him.
I was going to ask why he would even tell them that. So, stalkers and fans? Really?
Yeah. They didn't believe him, the suit says. Instead, a doctor ordered a psychological evaluation. He was restrained for at least an hour and a half, it says.
What? They could have just checked the internet and seen who the lineup was.
The suit accuses the hospital and two staffers, a nurse and security guard, of negligence, racial discrimination, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress.
What does this have to do with his race?
I think it has something down here about it. In fact, I know it does. So
Okey-dokey.
We'll find out. It was a terrifying experience to be in the middle of a medical emergency, to be placed into restraints, to have my oxygen turned off, my personal effects taken from me, and no help from the doctors and nurses because of the color of my skin. Racial profiling nearly cost me my life, Morris said in a statement his attorneys released Tuesday.
Still not understanding.
Well, we'll find out. And, even after you find out, it may be questionable, but I could understand, based on what I know about this, that he would do that. That he would.
You have more information than I do, so I'll withhold.
But
judgment.
that will change.
We're nothing if not informative here on CounterCultureWISE.
During his hospitalization, he was ultimately diagnosed with a heart infarction, DERF, that may require a heart transplant, pneumonia, and he suffered 3 seizures during his stay. However, his treatment was delayed because hospital staffers didn't believe he was part of the famed Four Tops group.
Why would it even matter to them?
I have no idea. I don't know.
It's not like he said he was Napoleon.
Yeah. I mean, these people probably don't even know the Four Tops still exist as a group anyway.
Well, they know enough to say that he's not part of it.
Yeah. After check-in, a nurse, a white security guard in lowercase w, and a white, once again, lowercase w, male emergency room doctor racially profiled him and wrongfully assumed he was mentally ill when he revealed his identity as a celebrity figure, the complaint says. Okay.
Well, okay, but I could say you're mentally ill without even mentioning your skin color.
Yeah. True. Now, keep in mind, this is also Detroit, Michigan, where Motown is still a real big deal. So
right, so it's not like he's the only black dude in the entire city.
Yeah, it's I don't know. However, let's see. Okay, he was told he'd get a psychological evaluation because they did not believe he was a singer or member of the Four Tops.
Nobody has Google. Nobody in the entire...
He couldn't have just broken out and gone, now if you feel that you can't go... Oh, wait a minute. He's
in the middle of a heart attack.
He's in the middle of a heart attack. Never mind. You feel like you can't... I can't go on.
Oh, be gone, Plonk.
Oh boy, ain't
dude, we're not
ain't no ticker
you,
like the one I've got. Hospital staff members decided to remove Morris from oxygen and pursued a psychiatric evaluation instead of considering his symptoms.
Why
they should get shut down
his oxygen? I don't
and
understand.
Significant medical history. The suit says a security guard was instructed to ensure Morris was placed in a restraining jacket and his belongings were removed. Morris asked whether he could prove his identity by showing his identification card, and the white male security guard ordered him to, and I'm sorry to use this language, but this is what it says, sit his black ass down, the complaint says. Yeah. Despite the comment, none of the nursing staffers intervened to stop the racial discrimination, the filing says. I don't think it has so much to do with the fact that he's black.
I think the security guard was a jerk, but I don't think they did all this because he was black.
The suit says Morris was ignored when he told staff members he was struggling to breathe and requested the oxygen back. It also alleges he was ignored when he asked for the restraint device to be removed and to get his belongings back so he could seek treatment at another hospital.
Maybe they just really hated the band.
Maybe they performed the Supremes. I don't know. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Supremes were amazing.
Like both.
He was told he was not free to leave, thus he was falsely imprisoned and deprived of his personal property. During this time, his medical condition continuously declined until and he was denied the medical treatment he desperately needed, the suit says.
This sounds so vindictive. Why did that upset them so much?
Morris's wife went to the nursing station to collect his belongings and saw what was happening, according to the filing. She informed one of the security officers that he actually was a member of the Four Tops, the complaint says. A nurse went to Morris's side and he asked to show the nurse a video of him performing at the Grammys, it says. It was then that the nurse realized that he actually was a member of the Four Tops.
They had to go look at a performance at the Grammys when they could have just IMDb'd it or Googled it or...
Just saying. And informed the emergency room doctor, according to the filing. When the doctor returned, he said he was canceling the psychological evaluation, it says.
It sounds like they need one.
The restraint jacket was finally removed and Morris was placed back on oxygen after being restrained for approximately an hour and a half or 90 minutes, the complaint says. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. Morris was offered a $25 gift card to Major as an apology, which he refused, it says.
$25
gift card for groceries.
They almost killed him. He literally could have died a horrible and painful death. And they offered him $25 and cookies?
Unbelievable. The ordeal delayed Morris's treatment despite his severe condition and caused him severe mental and psychological suffering, the suit says.
They need to talk to the poo-flinging truck because they took care of stuff.
That's true.
They cleaned up stuff. These guys need to get with the program. How come poo-flingers are treating people better than these guys are?
Unbelievable. The suit alleges racial discrimination, violation of civil rights, negligence, gross negligence, battery, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
I think he's got all of them, except he's going to have to prove that they did it because of his race.
Because of his race,
Because nowadays you don't. You just show up with blackface and you get off.
He seeks more than $75,000 in damages at a jury trial.
Actually, he's not asking that much.
That's not that much.
Stormy got paid more just to shut up, and she didn't.
That's true. I see all these posts on social media like driving while black, walking while black, but I never imagined I would become a victim of being sick while black, Morris said in a statement. I don't think it has much to do with that, to be fair. But anyway, I mean, he certainly has a right to do it, and he does have a bit of, if what that security guard said was true, if that's true,
I hope
then
it's on film.
I hope it's on film.
And my other question is, I'm sorry to do this, but was he saying, "Oh, I'm a member of the Four Tops and you will treat me appropriately. I demand this, that, and this, and how dare you? You know who I am!" So my question is...
Okay, there's no indication one way or the other that he used his celebrity. I mean, and let's face it, he's a celebrity of basically a band that's become a tribute of itself. It's not that big a deal.
I demand my own room. How dare you put me out here with the riffraff? I mean, I don't know. I'm
Probably
just speculating.
Not.
I can't imagine people getting their ire up that much.
No, but I think I think when you are in cardiac distress, you're probably not too worried about your celebrity. You're worried about your breathing and your heartbeat more than that. But he brought it up
anyway.
Yeah, well, okay, there is that. There is that. Anyway,
I mean, how many? I mean, okay, because it says he's worried about stalkers and
yeah.
But how many of them are going to know he's in the emergency room?
No idea. I wouldn't have said anything myself.
I'd be interested to see where this goes. I'm appalled.
Yeah.
By the way they treated him. At the same time, I'm wondering why they. Because typically you don't start, even if you are a racist, you don't start being a jerk in public to someone unless they start it.
Right.
I'm just putting that out there. I'm not saying he did.
Right.
I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying I'm gonna hold
we'll just see what happens. We'll keep
judgment.
our eyes on this one. I filed a lawsuit to hold the hospital accountable for the way I was treated and to protect the younger generations from racism in healthcare. An Ascension Hospital spokesperson said Tuesday, "We do not condone racial discrimination of any kind. We will not comment on pending litigation. The health, safety, and well-being of our patients, associates, and community members remains our top priority. We remain committed to honoring human dignity and acting with integrity and compassion for all persons in the community," the spokesperson added. So, yeah.
See,
get him, Alex.
Even if he came in hot and was all, pinky lifting, I'm a celebrity, treat me this way, and was a total jerk, you still don't deprive the guy of oxygen.
No, that was
crying out loud.
No, he's got him on everything else, and they'll probably try to settle. Keep it quiet. They'll settle.
Yeah.
They'll settle.
That's the easiest way out. But jeez Louise. I mean, seriously, oxygen? Yeah. That's next level. That's sorry.
And you mentioned pooping. We got another poop issue, so to speak.
Oh, no, you're going to make me read this one, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I can read it if you want me to.
No, I'll read it.
I mean,
Jeez. Where do you find these? Oh, it's in New Palestine. That place that the president won't visit.
I don't know if it's the same New Palestine.
It's not the same New Palestine where the train went down?
I don't know.
How many people name themselves New Palestine?
I don't know.
Who'd want to live there? All right, New Palestine, Indiana. A retiree and board member of a neighborhood HOA is accused of, oh, Lord, defecating not once, but twice on the side of a neighbor's house and was denying the act until confronted with video evidence. Why, people? Why? Court documents reveal how a homeowner in New Palestine went out to mow his lawn on May 29th only to find a pile of human feces beside his air conditioning unit. How did he know that it wasn't a dog?
No. East Palestine, Ohio is where the
seriously, there's more than
train hit.
More than Palestine, really? Yike. This wasn't the first time the homeowner found human poop piled beside his... Oh gosh, they have a picture of the dude doing it. And it wasn't the first time he caught the culprit on camera either. According to court documents, the homeowner caught an unknown woman on video surveillance entering his lawn on May 2nd. That same day, he found she left a gift piled alongside his house. Why? After the second pooping was perpetrated...
Perpetrate the poop.
On May 29th, the homeowner contacted police and handed over surveillance footage and a baggie full of that captured the serial pooper in the act. In footage shared on the news station, a woman is clearly seen dropping her pants in broad daylight and squatting beside an air conditioning unit to empty her bowels. Why? Deputies ended up pegging the serial pooper as a retiree who not only lived in the area but was a sitting board member of the neighborhood HOA.
Sitting?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sorry about that.
That
Not
was a
really.
cheap shot.
Yeah, it was.
Cheap shot. Documents reveal how, when confronted, the 74-year-old woman denied defecating against the man's house. Once confronted with the video evidence, she allegedly changed her tune and fessed up to doing the deed. Do we get to find out why? Ooh. According to the court documents, the woman told deputies she had no vendetta against the homeowner and simply had to use the restroom on more than one occasion in that exact spot. Okie dokie. The homeowner told Fox News that he does have an ongoing issue with the neighborhood HOA, though court documents show that he admitted to deputies that he did not know any members of the HOA personally and wasn't aware she was an HOA member at the time of the incident. In our household, HOA is a deal breaker.
Yeah, we will never do that.
No.
Never do HOAs.
The woman has since reportedly stepped down from the neighborhood HOA.
Gee.
Court records reveal that she is charged with criminal trespass, criminal mischief. Yay, mischief!
Yay, mischief.
Public nudity. They're all misdemeanor crimes. But we don't get to find out why. She's like, oh, I just had to go to the bathroom, so I walked over to a neighbor's house.
That's what she said.
But
I wasn't there when she said it, but that's what she said.
But she could have just gone into the bathroom of her own home. And, okay, you know the most disturbing thing about this story?
What?
She didn't wipe.
That is pretty disgusting.
Ugh. Why do you make me read these articles, Jim?
I only brought it because this is why we can't have nice things. You want reasons why we can't have nice things.
You gave me a reason.
I got to provide them.
I got to hand it to you.
I was charged with giving you reasons. There you go.
Starting to lose faith in humanity. Thanks a lot, buddy.
But we will restore it later with the Fuller.
but
now from pooper to trooper.
Oh, nice transition.
Thank you so much. So much.
Isn't that a song by ABBA?
Yes. Super pooper.
Pooper trooper.
Vermont has agreed to pay $175,000 more than what Four Tops dude is getting from the hospital.
And they deprived him of oxygen.
On behalf of a man who was charged with a crime for giving a state trooper the middle finger in 2018, the state chapter of the ACLU said Wednesday.
But did they put him in a straitjacket and deprive him of oxygen?
No.
Okay, this Four Tops dude needs a better lawyer.
The lawsuit was filed in 2021 by the American Civil Liberties Union of Vermont on behalf of Gregory Bombard of St. Albans. It says Bombard's First Amendment rights were violated after an unnecessary traffic stop and retaliatory arrest in 2018. Trooper Jay Riggin stopped Bombard's vehicle in St. Albans on February 9, 2018. I hope I'm saying the name of the town correctly, because he believed Bombard had shown him the middle finger, according to the lawsuit.
So what?
Bombard denied but says he did curse and display the middle finger once the initial stop was concluded.
Well, that wasn't smart.
Yeah.
That's resisting arrest, isn't it?
No, he said the stop was concluded.
Yeah. Afterwards. Okay, so what? Get over it. Everybody's going to flip you off because you wrote him a ticket.
First of all, nobody likes state troopers anyway.
No, nobody.
Not even state troopers.
You're just revenue generators pulling over people so you can make money for the state when we already pay taxes.
Bombard was stopped again and arrested on charge of disorderly conduct, and his car was towed. Wow, that was pretty severe. He was jailed for over an hour. Okay, that's all.
And deprived of oxygen. I'm sorry, that's my new bar. That's the bar you've got to climb.
He was jailed for over an hour and denied oxygen. No, okay. He was jailed for over an hour and cited to criminal court. According to the ACLU, the charge was eventually dismissed. Under the settlement signed by the parties this month, the state has agreed to pay Bombard $100,000 and $75,000 to the ACLU of Vermont and the Foundation for Individual Rights and Revenue for legal fees.
That's a heck of a lot of legal fees.
Hey. While our client is pleased with this outcome, the incident should never have happened in the first place, said Hillary Rich, staff attorney for the ACLU of Vermont. In a statement, police need to respect everyone's First Amendment rights, even for things they consider offensive or insulting. The Vermont State Police did not have a comment on the settlement. Vermont did not admit any wrongdoing as part of the deal. Bombard said in a statement provided by the ACLU that he hopes the Vermont State Police will train its troopers to avoid silencing criticism or making baseless car stops.
In other words, buck up, Buttercup. You're going to get flipped off because you're pulling people over.
That's part of that, you know.
Still, we need to get the ACLU on Four Tops guy's side because he's getting shafted, man.
Yeah. Dun-dun-dun. Anyway.
Hush your mouth.
Show mouth. Let's talk about getting shafted. We can dig it. Okay.
Oh my.
So, this is a fun one. All yours.
With a neighbor like this, who needs Satan? Okay. I'm gonna scroll below the headline just so we can reveal it as we discuss. Okay, here we go. Well, there's a picture, so I guess it kind of gives it away. Yikes. Marissa Simonetti, who is running for a seat in the Hennepin County Board, says the woman involved rented a room in the house she lives in and then refused to live. Okay, leave. Refused to live. I hate it when people rent from me and then refuse to live.
Actually,
that
I love
gets really old really quick. Okay, so the candidate is free on her own recognizance after being jailed on assault charges. Marissa Christina Simonetti, 30, was arrested on Friday, June 21st on a charge of 5th-degree assault after a woman called, is it Edina or Edina?
I think it's Edina.
Edina? So it's edema is the stuff I have in my legs, and this is Edina police, to report Simonetti trespassing into her section of the house. The alleged victim, Twin Cities attorney Jackie Vasquez, threw a live tarantula at her among various other junk. Wait, are you calling a tarantula junk? That's a living creature. You call it junk. In what she describes as a scary encounter.
I would imagine.
Simonetti spent the week... Okay, now I'm confused. Now, who is who now? So the lady that's running for office...
Simonetti is running for office.
And she's the one who threw the stuff?
She's the one who threw the spider, yes.
Okay.
She was the spider tosser. She was the
tarantula
tosser.
Simonetti spent the weekend in custody and was released Monday after a court appearance.
The arachnid pitcher.
Arachnid pitcher. Okay.
The insect flinger.
Spiders aren't insects.
Oh, well, sorry.
The charge involves fear of bodily harm and does not require battery. Huh? Battery's not included?
There you go.
I don't understand law. Okay, so one of the reporters spoke with her following her appearance. She says the charges aren't true. Her accuser is a squatter who went to the room from her through a short-term rental website and then refused to leave when the contract was up. Property records indicate Simonetti is not the owner of the home, raising questions about whether she was even authorized to rent out a portion of the house. In addition, the short-term rentals are not allowed in Edina. Oh, she's in a lot of trouble. She's a spider flinger.
She's an arachnid flipper.
Eight-legged webcaster. And she's doing stuff she shouldn't be doing. And she's running for office.
That figures.
I wonder if she's a Democrat. Simonetti said that Vasquez did completely move out of the property over the weekend. She added that she will continue her quest for a seat in the Hennepin County Board. Well, you know, they say, hey, she's really young.
Yeah.
Any press is good press.
Almost.
Orange looks good on her. Those eyebrows are scary.
She looks like a spider flinger.
She does look like a spider flinger.
Absolutely.
If I were to think, what would a spider flinger look like? That face would pop up. 5th degree assault means someone only needs to feel fear or feel afraid of bodily harm. I feel that way every time I go to the dentist. I never hit anybody. I never touched anybody. And the reason I was held longer is because she was in my house. So it had to potentially be considered a domestic, Simonetti said in an interview. When asked whether Simonetti did something to make Vasquez fear bodily harm, Simonetti responded, I was taking the door off The landlord I'm renting here told me to take the door off, so I was taking the door handle off. Simonetti, who was the runner-up in this summer's special election in the nonpartisan Hennepin County Board race, running as a conservative rut-row, has faced a number of allegations in criminal and civil court. She was charged with credit card fraud for more than $80,000 of charges on her ex-fiance's credit card. I need one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd I marry your broke behind, man?
Sorry.
I had an $80,000 credit card run-up
I think
guy.
that's what I need to do is run for office.
Yeah,
I hereby announce my
run for
candidacy.
office, man. We're set. You can be as corrupt as you want. Just don't sleep around.
I wouldn't do that.
Then I'd have to scandalize everybody by killing you.
Well, there
or I
you
could
go.
just do what Jill's doing and kill you and just prop you up and run the country myself.
It always goes back to those darn
It
Bidens,
really
doesn't
does.
it?
As Raggedy Ann would say, they're top of mind. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
She was charged with credit card fraud. Her ex-fiance, who is an embattled former dentist, settled in civil court.
My.
Dentist.
She has a thing against dentists, and if you understood the entire thing going on, you'd know why.
Yeah. Simonetti, they're butchers.
Just
And
like
another-
with our car wash thing.
Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about the car wash.
Yeah.
Simonetti and another
Yeah.
ex-boyfriend, the father of Simonetti's child, have current harassment restraining orders against each other. Oh, she's a peach.
She's a piece of work.
I'm sure glad she's a conservative. Yeah, making us look good. All right. Court papers show allegations of assault and stalking. And he accuses Simonetti of creating a phony Grindr account using his name and photo and messaging several men who then showed up at his house
Bow chicka wow wow.
expecting to hook up. Simonetti would not comment on the situation involving this man. Okay, I gotta go look at her again because she is a peach.
She's a work. She's
She
a piece
is
of
a
work.
piece of work. Look at those cheekbones.
I know.
When reached by phone regarding Simonetti's characterization of squatting, Vasquez told Ragus that Simonetti doesn't understand the legal definition of squatting and that short-term rentals aren't allowed in Adena, meaning
The
the
HOA
contract
woman knows
is
the meaning of squatting.
invalid.
What?
And probably knows that the short-term lease was... Wow. Vasquez could not confirm or deny if she continued paying for the room after the end date of the agreement. During Simonetti's court appearance, Judge Jamie Anderson commented on the weird nature of what is happening here, that the charges are serious. Judge Anderson freed Simonetti without bond, but ordered that she and the accuser can't be in the same room of the home, a moot point, since Vasquez has already moved out. This is a weird one.
That is a weird one.
This is a weird one.
All right.
Alrighty, one more, and then we get to head into... Oh, boy.
Even better stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Off you go. This is
This
weird.
is weird. And I'm going to answer your question. We don't know what the liquid is.
Okay.
Okay? 4 Sri Lankan fishermen have died and another 2 are critically ill after consuming an unknown liquid from bottles they found while at sea, according to local media reports.
Just like, hey, there's a bottle floating. I mean, it could have been somebody urinated in the bottle and tossed it in the water.
Exactly.
And they drank it?
Yep. The sailors were said to be on a fishing trip when they retrieved the bottles around 320 nautical miles from Tangale, a town on the southern coast of the island. The Sri Lankan Navy told reporters the fishermen had drunk from the bottles thinking they contained alcohol. Shiver me timbers and blow me down. Let's have a drink and try not to drown. Lardy-dardy. The Director General of the Sri Lankan Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, Susantha Kahawate.
Have fun with that one.
I just did. Susantha Kahawate told several outlets that the Navy was attempting to bring them back to shore. He reportedly said that the Navy was providing medical attention to the men aboard the fishing vessel named the Devon, which is Sri Lankan for idiot, over concerns there was not enough time for them to return them to land for treatment. The BBC has approached Mr. Kahawata and the Sri Lanka Navy for confirmation and comment. Mr. Kahawata, stop making me say that. Told a national news station.
Call him Mr. K.
Yo, Mr. K. Ada Durana that the fishermen had distributed some of the bottles to other crews operating in the area. He added the attempts to notify these crews were being made. The Navy told local media that the Devon was being towed back to shore by another vessel. It set off from Tongale on 4 June. The incident has reportedly prompted protests in the coastal town, located around 120 miles from the capital, Colombo, calling for the sailors who were still alive to be returned to land. Authorities are now investigating the contents of the bottles.
Wait, so they're not allowed to come back to land?
Yeah, I guess not.
What did they think was in the bottles?
I have no idea, but whatever it was, I'm glad I didn't drink it. By the way, that photo there of the bottle, it's not the bottle.
It's a nice picture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the bottle.
It looks like more like a message in a bottle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm really curious about two things. Number one, of course, what was in the bottle. And number two, why aren't they allowed to come back by land?
Don't know. The article does not say.
That's weird. There was not enough time to return to land for treatment. So they're way out there. And the Navy was attempting to bring them back to shore. But then there's protests saying that they should be returned. I'm really confused. We're going to have to follow up on this one.
Okay.
But before we do that, let's head on in to the new abnormal.
This is not Bubble Waters. It is no longer 2020. But this is your new abnormal.
I can do things other people can't. And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. And I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. Ambrose Brosey, they call him Bosey, Monfort Bosey. And he became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones. He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
Just clap for that, you stupid bastard.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
这是真的一场
I'm the only white boy within 20 miles.
Yes, you are.
By the way that you timed his stumbles it was just perfect.
Thank you.
How long did you work on that?
Oh, that took me days to put all that together. And this is before the debacle that we witnessed this week, so I might be adding...
You might be adding we beat Medicare.
Yeah. Trump actually put out an ad of a side-by-side of him running up the stairs of Air Force One.
Right.
And Biden doing that. They have to use the short steps now and then elevator Biden up into Air Force One. Yeah, that's
whatever.
That's the leader of the free world right now.
Whatever. Okay, so censorship is alive and well in our favorite state. Here we go. This is yours, yes.
This is mine, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a little curious about this because I do not believe in censorship, and I don't like that. They're trying to say that as crazy Christians are the ones always doing this, because so far every book I've seen that they've wanted to get pulled are literally pornographic. Literally pornographic. And no, I don't say ban the book, and it isn't a book banning to say I don't want my tax dollars to go to pay for this book to be available to kindergartners in their school. That is not a book banning. That's saying get it out of the kindergarten. Get it out of, I don't even want high schoolers having access to porn in their school library because I'm paying for that.
Right. That's reasonable.
Any more than I think they would appreciate us having a bunch of religious pamphlets and whatnot in there. It's not the place. So I am curious, because all these books they have, okay, White Fragility is a garbage book.
Yeah.
A is for Activist is a garbage book. But I Know Why the Cage Birds Sing, I read that when I was in high school. That was required reading. Fahrenheit 451,
classic.
That was required reading. So
but
genderqueer, garbage book. Okay? So putting Maya Angelou next to some guy that, has pornographic books about his fetishes, it's not the same world. It's not the same world. So, I mean, this is a false equivalence, but I'm curious about what happened here, because this is a little over the top.
A little bit.
A Florida school district has banned Alan Gratz's novel Ban This Book, despite a recommendation to keep it on library shelves. Now, I tried to look up as much as I could about this book, and I couldn't find too much about it without actually buying it. But it's basically a children's chapter book about a little, well, they probably go into it. The decision was made late last month by the Indian River County School Board following a complaint by a member of Parents' Rights Group. Ban This Book tells the story of a fourth grader's efforts to reinstate her favorite book in the school library after it was removed by school officials. The novel has now been banned in real life by the Indian River County School Board, despite a committee's recommendation to retain it. The complaint was filed in February by a parent affiliated with Moms for Liberty, doesn't sound very much like Liberty, a parents' rights group. The parent alleged that the book contained sexual content and promoted social justice activism. Okay. Although the school district's committee advised against the ban, the school board voted to remove the book from its libraries. Author Alan Gratz, 52, told the Washington Post that his book, along with some of his other works, has faced challenges before, but never on this scale. He learned about the ban from an advocacy group and expressed the irony over the situation. It does seem kind of silly. And didn't one of the Daily Wire guys, didn't they write a book called Ban This Book?
Something like that.
That's when they did. Or was it
Well, there was
Mark
Abby
Dice?
Hoffman who wrote Steal This Book. That was a long
Was it
time
Mark
ago.
Dice?
Back
Somebody
in the
wrote a book
60s.
called Ban This Book. The overwhelming irony of banning a book about book banning has been enough to keep people from banning it for a little while. Mr. Gratz wrote Ban This Book in 2017 to highlight issues surrounding book challenges. He referred to past objections to the Harry Potter series for witchcraft portrayal and challenges to the June B. Jones books over protagonist poor grammar as example of the types of censorship he aimed to address. What? Challenges to the Junie B. Jones books over the protagonist's poor grammar. Well, it's character speak. That's part of it. As examples of the types of censorship he aimed to address. Nobody has the right to tell you what you can and can't read except your parents, and they shouldn't have the ability to tell other parents what books their kids can and can't read. Okay, so I wanted to look up a little bit more about this, and I can't find anything at all about it being sexual at all.
Okay.
But one of the things that they brought up is that the way the little girl tries to get her favorite book back is she starts stealing the books that they're going to ban from the library and storing them in her locker and checking them out from there. So I could kind of see, okay, maybe we shouldn't teach kids to steal and, go against authority and things like that. But at the same time, it's a children's story, and I believe at the end she learns her lesson and gets in trouble. I'm not seeing an issue with this book, but I haven't read it. So maybe once I read it, because I have read bits of genderqueer, it's repugnant. A is for Activist is just stupid. And some of these other books that they have, White Fragility, is just nonsense. But Fahrenheit 451 is fantastic. I know why the Cage Bird
Isn't
sings.
that also a book about censorship?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes. I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings is a classic, and
it's
I don't know how they are putting these books together because there's no comparison. White Fragility is a white woman making a lot of money off of a really bad idea, and it's absolute trash. And genderqueer is just celebrating fetishes and trying to get that in front of children. It's repugnant. But comparing these to And then to say that they got it banned for the way a character speaks, well, I mean, you could say the same thing about pretty much any character in any book, but, Huckleberry Finn comes to mind.
Right.
But that book's been banned by people who think it's racist when it's literally the opposite.
Right.
Well, just like Uncle Tom's Cabin. They think that calling a black person Uncle Tom is an insult. It's like, okay, then you just prove that you have not read the book and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
anyways, welcome to the new Abnormal. Your turn.
So, let's ban offensive words. Let's start now, shall we?
Oh, no. So, book banning, oh dear.
The Airline Pilots Association International, with over 70,000 pilots globally, which makes sense because it's international, advises against non-inclusive terms like cockpit and manpower.
But that's the name of... That's just the name of it.
Promoting flight deck, which is not the same as the cockpit.
No.
And people human power instead. Boring.
Dumb.
The union's guide emphasized inclusive language for solidarity and flight safety. What's going to make a flight safer by calling it never mind.
By using more words to describe a thing that everybody knows what the name of? I mean,
inclusive.
Can't you imagine people saying, everybody head toward the flight deck, and they're all just standing there going, what's the flight deck? And the plane goes down because I don't know.
Inclusive language in communications is essential to our union's solidarity and collective strength, and is an important factor in maintaining flight safety. I should be doing that in the robot voice anyway.
Well, I don't understand what that has to do with flight safety.
It doesn't. Everybody will be politically correct and the planes come falling down from the sky. The purpose of this language guide is to offer examples of terms and phrases that promote inclusion and equity. Many women have heard a variation of, "It's called a cockpit for a reason," by a male pilot, suggesting that women do not belong in the piloting profession, the guide adds.
Get over yourself.
Despite debates over terms origins like cockpit, diversity efforts in the airline industry have faced significant criticism. Yeah, when your wings are falling off. The circular pit was surrounded by a barrier to keep the gamecocks from escaping with spectators who watch the bloody sport, linguist Ben Zimmer wrote in 2019. The confined space, the noise, the blood, and the fetid air evidently reminded people of the original cockpit, Zimmer wrote. That just jumps to it without telling us what...
When was there noise and blood and fetid air in where the pilots are? I don't understand this leap in logic.
It was a leap because they edited this poorly, because there's supposed to be an entire etymology of the term cockpit, and it just jumps like what looks like a paragraph or two.
Okay, now I've got to look it up because we went from blood and fetid air and...
I'm going to keep reading while you look. Who will provide the people human power to support this event? The guide gave as an example. United Airlines CEO's commitment to increasing women and minority pilots sparked controversy, with Elon Musk and others questioning forced diversity initiatives. Diversity really has nothing to do with safe travel, former Federal Aviation Administration Safety Team Representative Kyle Bailey stated. It's basically all a matter of flight time, your credentials, your background, how much flight experience you have, and also your training. Regardless of what proposed hiring practices are put into place, the bottom line is piloting is basically a male occupation. You don't find little girls when they're 10 years old saying, "Hey, I want to be an airline pilot," or playing with little model airplanes or flying model airplanes. It's pretty much a male game, like it or not, Bailey said. This is messed up, Elon Musk wrote on X. He can always set a good example and resign immediately, leaving his high-paid position, salary, bonuses, and stock options to someone more diverse. Center for Security Policy senior analyst J. Michael Wallace said. That was a nice little snarky takedown, wasn't it? But yeah, I need to find out now what the etymology of cockpit is, because
apparently, according to General Aviator, which I'll bring on over here because I can do magic things like that, there are several theories. All right. Okay. For background, you need to know that the word cockpit itself first appears in print in the 1580s. Let me make this a little bigger.
Okay.
1580s, and was used to describe the arena used for cockfights with birds.
That makes sense.
I'm really glad they said with birds, because I had a complete different visual.
Clank, clank, really, clank, people? Clank. Smack, smack.
Clank? That's the sound yours makes? Clank?
You're asking? Never mind.
Clank?
Never mind. It does not say clank. Let's move on. I feel dumb. I feel stupid. I've brought this broadcast down. I'm done. I'm sorry.
Clank. That explains a lot. Clank.
Clank.
Okay. Over time, the term evolved in other directions. One of these, and bear with me through all the twists and turns, gets royally far from cockfights and might as well land in airplanes. Now, since I'm reading this, I'm going to go ahead and give this person credit. William E. Dubois. Here's the tale. In 1635, a theater in London called the Cockpit was torn down to make room for buildings to serve King Charles I's cabinet. Apparently, Londoners continue to call the new cluster of buildings the Cockpit after the old theater, which in turn got its name from being built on the site of an actual honest-to-Pete cockfighting site. Okay, so we are going all the way back to cockadoodle-doos. All of this led to Robert Barnhart in his book, The Barnhart Concise Dictionary of Entomology. I want this book. I want it so bad.
Christmas is coming.
I want this book so bad I can taste it. Oh,
Okay.
I love entomology.
All right.
To suggest that cockpit evolved into a synonym for control center, and that this was later applied to the control centers of airplanes. So it had nothing to do with guns. Meanwhile, on a different tangent from the same set of facts, we have the blood and guts hypothesis. Okay,
Yay.
maybe this will explain what they missed. In addition to being used as a synonym for control center, apparently in the 1700s, soldiers started using cockpit as a metaphor for the site of grisly combat, especially when fighting was in an enclosed area. That makes sense. The Word Detective website has suggested that the word cockpit was then adopted by pilots in World War I, who applied it to the cramped operating quarters of their fighter planes. It is, after all, a small pit where plenty of fighting takes place.
Makes sense.
Nice. Those are beautiful.
And by the way, there is an online etymology dictionary that can be used as a Chrome extension. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Related to this, in the 18th century, wounded sailors were taken below decks during combat, where the ship's surgeon and his mates would tend to them, a bloody business that led to the surgeon's station being called the cockpit. And it's also on the high seas that our third contender comes from, the nautical connections hypothesis. The word cockpit had a second and completely independent evolution on the waves, one that has nothing whatsoever to do with cockfighting. Okay, now, given that ships were the first major means of mass transportation, and then airplanes, which are, in a way, ships, I'm leaning towards this one.
For a reason.
So let's see if this one has a violent, sexist,
Nah.
istophobe thing going. Okay. I'd like you to meet a different flavor of pilot from the kind we hung around with, the coxswain, spelled C-O-X. Swain. Initially, the word coxswain is used to describe the person in charge of a small vessel. The title comes to us from cock, an Old English term for a small boat, and swain, which means servant. A coxswain is a boat servant. Over time, this title led to the steering compartment of smaller boats where the coxswain sat, being called the cockpit. I'm buying this one.
This one sounds reasonable.
More realistic.
It sounds reasonable.
And more related to a ship or
Right.
a plane. As early aviation borrowed a host of other terms from the sea, which we know, like the galley, and I mean all of those. Many commenters, in fact, I'm surprised they don't call it walking the plank when we get on board.
I would if I worked there.
I would too. Many commenters have suggested that this is the sort of cockpit as we know it. I buy this one totally.
That makes more sense than the other ones.
Rando bird bar. That one's too esoteric for me. So how can we sort all this out? Which of the three theories is correct? One approach is to look at early aviation writing to try to figure out when the word cockpit first appears in print in relation to aviation. Is it when flight decks became complex enough to merit being considered control centers? Is it found in the writings of World War I aces, or does it come from an earlier point in time? The earliest printed reference to cockpit in aviation that I could find came from 1909. That's 5 years before World War I and only 6 years after Kitty Hawk. It's in the book Vehicles of the Air by Victor Lougheed. In discussing aeroplane seating for pilots and passengers, Lougheed tells us, so far, most of such seats have been the most elementary construction, as is suggested in the illustrations throughout these pages. Lately, however, some of the more advanced craft are appearing with very comfortable arrangements for seating the operator, as it is particularly evident in the boat-like cockpits provided in the Blériot, Antoine, and REP machines. It comes directly from the shipping thing, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense of all of them.
Wow. These men were so brave.
I know.
I mean...
It was gutsy.
That is just... That takes...
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Both of them, yes.
Hueves, okay.
Huevos.
It intrigues me that this very sentence near the dawn of aviation history directly connects our cockpit back to those of boats. But is this the origin of cockpit in aviation? I believe it is. 1907's Navigating the Air by Aero Club of America makes no mention of cockpits. Of course, at that time, well prior to the trio planes cited by Lougheed, most pilots were seated on open wings or in chairs lashed to struts forward of the wing. We didn't need the word cockpit earlier as there was no pit, but by 1915, cockpit is a common use in numerous books. I'm not going to read the rest of this because it keeps going for a while, but I will provide this link.
It's fantastic.
Thank you for
going the extra
mile.
That
was fascinating.
That's really cool stuff.
Now everything they're saying here, Elon's right. This is messed up. It's like first of all, they do just the most cursory research. I mean, if they had even read this article, they'd be, oh, okay. So it's not. You saw how fast I brought that up.
Yeah, it took no time at all.
They could have learned this instead of gone straight to, oh, it's male and this and wham, wham, wham. It's like, oh, get over yourself.
Well, speaking of airplanes, one of I think it was once the leading aircraft manufacturer in the world. I don't know about it anymore.
This hurts my heart.
Boeing says that the astronauts are not stranded while the astronauts remain stranded. And the subheadline is, they are definitely stuck up there, Boeing. 2 astronauts who traveled on Boeing's Starliner are still stuck at the International Space Station due to issues with the reusable capsule. But Boeing insists that the astronauts are not stranded, the Associated Press reports.
Couldn't Elon just send up one of his?
Probably.
They come back.
That's an amusing...
They land, too. They're awesome.
Yeah. Elon's got it together.
They don't just crash. They literally land.
That's an amusing statement because it flies against the straight facts of the matter. Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams were supposed to go home on the Boeing Starliner on June 14th, but their return trip has been pushed back repeatedly due to technical issues that have popped up with the troubled craft.
I wouldn't get on a Boeing anything right now.
These problems include issues docking with the station and the vessel experiencing numerous helium leaks.
What?
Yike.
And then what's so funny is every time they report it, it's like, I am sorry, but we're having a problem here now.
That's her normal voice. She actually tones it down for the show.
It's really hard. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I know. NASA God. NASA spokespeople said during a press conference last week that personnel are busy analyzing the issues. Once that's finished, NASA and Boeing will decide on the departure date for the 2 astronauts, but when that might happen is still anyone's guess. So far, we don't see any scenario where Starliner is not going to be able to bring Butch and Sonny home, NASA Commercial Crew Program Manager Steve Stitch said at a press conference last week.
Wait, okay, hold on. We just have to reflect on this. We've got Butch Stardance and his Sonny friend. Am I the only one seeing this now?
And their boss, Stevie Stitch.
Stevie Stitch. Seriously, though, he's up there dancing among the stars, and he's got his Sundance Kid there. I mean...
Cute.
Seriously, they need to capitalize on this.
They should. The Starliner is meant to augment the capabilities of Elon Musk's SpaceX and bring astronauts back and forth from the space station. NASA awarded $4.2 billion to Boeing to develop Starliner. This voyage to the space station was the Starliner's first trip to space with a crew. During the years leading up to the maiden voyage, Starliner was beset with delays due to a host of technical issues.
So if I were Elon Musk, I would completely separate myself from Boeing.
The Starliner imbroglio comes... I love that word, imbroglio.
I don't think I've ever seen that word.
It's a great word.
I want to learn what the word means. I'm looking up the word.
The Starliner Imbroglio, I get to say it again, yay.
Yay.
Comes amid
One more
Boeing's...
time for...
Imbroglio! It's not a pasta dish. Don't look at me like that.
It really
Comes
does
amid
sound
Boeing's
yummy.
recent struggles with its airplanes, which have had doors blown out during flights and even a whistleblower found dead.
Okay, so a difficult or intricate situation and entanglement.
Yes.
Imbroglio.
Imbroglio.
I'm going to have to use that word. Wait, I can hear what it sounds like. If I have my headphones on.
Yeah.
I don't have my headphones on. I got to hear it.
Let me know when you're ready.
Oh, apparently we don't pronounce the G. It's imbroglio.
Imbroglio.
Must be Francais.
Okay.
They like their imbroglio.
Critics say there is
I
an
like that even
overall...
better. It's lyrical. Imbroglio. 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 Okay, I'm done now.
Critics say there's an overall quality control problem within the company. You think? While the airplane issues aren't directly related to the Starliner problems, it's hard to shake the feeling that Boeing is in the grips of a deep crisis.
Yeah.
Congress took their CEO to just rake him over the coals.
Really?
Yeah, they brought him in and just fried him. So, yeah.
So what's that going to do? Is that going to?
It's not going to do it.
Is that going to reverse DEI?
He's planning to resign, which means he'll still get a hefty paycheck
Yeah.
on his way out and all that kind of stuff he doesn't deserve. But what do people like us know about that? It takes a special mind to be the CEO of a company that allows your company to go completely to hell because you're,
A racist.
a racist dork and incompetent. And you like bringing in incompetent people because it makes you look good. It doesn't make you look good when nobody wants to fly in it. That people will actually cry that they don't want to be put on a 747. You know what I mean? Just dumb.
Yeah,
dumb,
and
dumb,
I'm sick
dumb.
of them saying that you're racist for not for thinking about golly, this is
Well,
causing-
I'm sorry. The timing was really bad. The timing is really bad.
But you've got to put it into context, okay? You're saying, fine, no more white men. Okay, but that's still, 72% of your pool.
Mm-hmm.
So you literally eliminated 70 some odd percent of eligible, qualified applicants, and that limits your pool. And then all of those people are demand because everybody else needs to hire them. So now you're dealing with, fewer than 25% of eligible, qualified people who get snagged up immediately. So then you have to go to the next level down, and the next level down, and the next level down. And by the time, you get all these people hired and all these white guys are still without a job, you're not getting the best. You're
not.
settling. And it's like, okay, how about we go back to...
You're virtuous and you're going broke.
How about we go back
broke.
to the good old days where they weren't allowed to even ask you your race and gender on a job application? Why is that on the job application?
They do it supposedly separately. I've gotten to the point where I say I would choose not to answer for some of the questions, to be honest. I don't think it matters. It's not relevant. Just hire me or don't.
And if you
but especially do.
But the only reason they ask those questions is to meet their quotas. And I absolutely know for a fact that they shouldn't be allowed to ask our birth date. And they shouldn't be able to ask for more than, I'd say, 5 or 10 years of job history as it relates to the position. If you want to give them more, that should be optional. And they shouldn't be allowed to ask your race. Yeah. Any more than they should be able to ask your orientation, none of their business, your religion, none of those things should come into play unless
the only
affects your
exception
job.
would be if you were applying for a ministry job and
then you have to do a faith, but that's completely different. That's specifically pertaining to the job. Just like if you're applying for a modeling gig, they're going to ask you your height and weight. That's different. But if I'm applying for an engineering job,
I'm only 220 pounds.
If I'm applying,
I'm bald, kind of. So, just so you're aware of that, that's my hair. My
hair color bald,
yeah. Yeah, my color's bald.
Right now, your hair color is peach fuzz.
Yeah, I've really neglected my shaving. I just, with everything going on, it was like
We'll get you tomorrow. We'll defluff you.
Thank you. I'd appreciate your help with that
Yeah.
because I can't do it myself when it gets this long.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying,
Yes.
if I were applying for an engineering job,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to look at my credentials. It's none of your dang business what I've got between my legs or don't. It's none of your dang business who I pray to. It's none of your dang business whether I'm married or who I'm married to or what I'm married to. It's none of your dang business who I voted for.
In most cases,
none of your dang
it's
business
not
how
important
old
in
I
real
am.
in
None
the
of
rest
it is
our life.
important.
Right.
None of it is important.
It's
Now,
not supposed to matter. You say it's not supposed to matter. Why are you asking me the
so
questions?
I get called into an interview based on my credentials, and then that's my chance. Oh, okay, you are an old fat broad, but hey, can you do the job?
And
if
folks,
you're-
she can. So
and
hire
that's-
her,
yeah.
please.
Well, I'm not an engineer, but
Well, no, not an engineer. My dad was an engineer.
yeah, I was just giving that example. It's like if you're qualified, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is, oh, she's a female, we need to bring her in. Well, that doesn't mean I'm qualified.
Right.
And I don't think that I should be brought in to be interviewed. I'm actually insulted when I'm told that I got special consideration because of whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's really insulting. And it reminds me of, well, let's go right back to the debacle we saw earlier. Oh, you just said so good. You answered all the questions. Such a good boy. Such a good boy. When you have to
Have a
lower
biscuit.
the bar, you are the one being a bigot, because what you're saying is you cannot succeed on your merits. You are lower than the rest of us, so we have to come and save you by lowering the bar and allowing you to participate in our little society.
Yeah.
That's repugnant. I mean, there's just no other word for it.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is what's happening. We're stranding our poor astronauts. The planes are falling out of the sky. You know, you're not.
They're not the company they used to be.
You're not giving.
They're not the
people
company they used
a
to be.
chance. You're putting people in risk because you're virtue signaling, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
All right, man, this has been like one long ginger snaps.
Yeah, by the way, folks, because of time constraints, I'm not going to do the sermon that I did today. I will be
You said you're
including
going to
it.
have the video up.
Yeah, I'll have the video up. We'll have the link to the video.
This is definitely better with an audience.
Yeah.
You had audience participation. You were rocking the joint.
I felt like I was.
Well,
Two fantastic stories
But-
to close the show with. Wonder
yeah,
Fuller.
believe it or not. So let's head on into. Here on CounterCultureWISE, we may rant, we may rave, but most of all, we go against the current culture because we believe, to the core of our beings, that humans are good and the world is an amazing and beautiful place. At the beginning of our show, we give you news of the weird and wonderful, but that is just the tip of the magnificent iceberg that is our world. We now present news of the Wonderfuller. So we just invent words. Wonderfuller.
Wonderfuller.
Okay. I was ranting, but I think that was your article, right? So that means
Yes.
this one's my turn. Okay. Warning, there may be a grammar rant as part of this one. 88-year-old, for some reason put in scare quotes, proud foster mom retires after raising over 40 children. Holy smokes.
Bigger than a grammar error.
I'm trying to get past it, but why? Why would you put that in quotes? Because that usually means the opposite. That's literally what doing that means. She looks like she's proud and she's allowed to be proud. And it's not the kind of proud that we're supposed to be paying attention to this month. Celebrating foster. Oh, last day of it too. Celebrating. Wow, it kind of came and went without, like, we kind of just, everybody ignored it this year.
Yeah.
Yay! Celebrating foster mom Emma, oh my goodness, Pattersonal?
No, there's supposed to be a space between Patterson and Inn. In fact, that's not even part of the article. That's
Strolling through a senior housing residence. I'm like, what am I reading? Throwing is worse than the scare quotes. Did Biden write this article?
What?
Strolling through a senior housing residence in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, Emerson, I just put them all together. Emerson Patterson. Emma Patterson takes it. I love the name Emma. Emma Patterson takes a seat to show photos from her cell phone. One by one, she scrolls through photos showing different children throughout the years whom she has fostered. Patterson, now see, they get correct grammar there. Patterson says she's fostered over 40 children since she opened her home in Montgomery County, Maryland, to foster youth in the 1980s. The need for foster parents in the U.S. remains crucial. There were over 400,000 youth in the foster care system waiting for placement in a permanent home as of 2020, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families. This breaks my heart. Oh, but I want to talk about the movie. I have the movie. Patterson is one of the foster parents in the county who has housed the most children long-term and one of the longest-serving foster parents, a Montgomery County spokesperson confirmed to ABC News. Now, after decades of caretaking youth in need, Patterson, 88, is retiring. This wasn't something that I ever thought anybody paid attention to, you know? I didn't do it for the purpose of anybody give me any recognition, she told the news. It was always a situation where it was just a boy or a girl that didn't have anybody to care anything about them, and they needed a place to sleep or something to eat. I think a lot of people shy away from it because some of these kids are so damaged, and some of them are dangerous. So, I mean, it takes a very special, gutsy person to do what she did. Patterson says she started to get involved in the foster care system when her 2 birth children started bringing other kids home who needed help.
Yeah, she had 4. She eventually had 4 children and 10 grandchildren in addition to all of these kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whether they needed winter coats, food, or a place to stay, her birth kids brought others home, knowing their mom would help them, she said. My mom was like that. We were always taking in strays. We had Felicity's friends staying all the time that, like, they got kicked out of their house, or they were running away, or they were in trouble in some way. We always had strays at our house. With my kids, you know, every time I looked, they were bringing a boy or a girl home, Patterson said. But I said, okay, you know, these are children. They need help. And so I just started doing what I could to help them. So that's kind of how I got started. I guess you'd call it foster care because some of them came and didn't leave. Patterson said she had just split with her ex-husband when she began to open her home. She worked 2 jobs, one at the University of the District of Columbia and the other in retail, and she would often use her discount to get the kids what they needed. I didn't know you could foster if you were single. I didn't know that was a thing. Eventually, Patterson's house in White Oak, Maryland, became an official foster home for Montgomery County. She started to foster even younger children, picking up newborns from now that is a commitment.
That is big.
From hospitals and nurseries who needed a place to go home to. She's legally adopted 2 of them. Look at that beautiful face.
That is her daughter.
That is like an angel from heaven. Look at her.
Yeah.
I hope the coconut doesn't fall from the tree, as Kamala would say. I can't believe
the tree that it would fall not from is from the. We all have to agree it's a tree.
It's a tree. And the thing about trees is they're trees. And you know what I like about trees is how tree-y they are. But if you're going to be a tree, you got to be tree-ish. And
not 4-ish or 5-ish. You got to be tree-ish.
Tree.
Okay.
Yeah, I still don't understand what her. She said her mom would say, "Did you just fall from a coconut tree?" I'm like, you grew up in Canada. What?
It'd be a maple tree. What's wrong with you?
There's no coconut trees. All right. In May, Montgomery County presented Patterson with an award to recognize her years of service to the youth of the country. Oh, county. I say country. This is something I'm actually connected to. I have 2 foster children, and I understand what foster parents do and the important role they play in a child's life. And we got Max because we're terrible foster cat parents who end up keeping every pet we take in. I'm happy to honor Ms. Patterson for her dedication to our community over all these years. I'm glad she's getting the kind of recognition she has long deserved. I hope her story inspires others to help vulnerable children and families as well. Montgomery County is not alone in having an urgent need for new foster families. So I'm not going to read the rest of this because it goes on for a while, but you are more than welcome to go to CounterCultureWISE.
And there's an accompanying video on the page too. So that's amazing. What a great lady.
I do, however, want to, because this completely and directly relates to a movie that is being released on July. I washed my teeth and I can't do a thing with them now. On July 4th, it's from the same people that did Sound of Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling it Sound of Hope. And you said you hadn't heard of this movie, so I want to run at great risk and expense, I want to run the trailer for this because this directly relates to this story, and it happened here in Texas.
How about that? Well, let's see.
I think everybody should go see this movie.
Are you sure these people want us?
I know they do. You can call me Mama. It's hard to feel like I'm the only one who sees these things. 70% of the kids in the system are there because of neglect. The other 30% are put through hell. We need your help.
Can you imagine our kids on their own? We can't just look away. The state ain't no family. Are you sure these people want us?
I know they do.
You can call me Mama. Oh, Lord.
If we can't wrap our arms around the most vulnerable, then what do we have? Noise! And the children can't take the noise anymore.
This is something that we must do.
22 families want to adopt. Whole town wants kids now.
That's about right.
What's happening with Possum Trot could mean a huge change for the system.
We want the ones that nobody else won't.
Who hurt you, baby? I'm not giving up on you. You can't give up on me either. What we gonna do? Everybody's falling apart.
I'm doing the best I can.
The real world hits hard.
I don't want to be here.
I can't give him back.
We gotta work on this together. We your people now. And love never gives up.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Mitchell, and I play Susan Ramsey in the powerful new movie from Angel Studios, Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. An army of hope is assembling for kids this July 4th in theaters everywhere. This movie is based on the true story of a small community in East Texas who decided to embrace kids in the foster system nobody else would take. 22 families took in 77 children who were in the greatest need. It's a beautiful story of hope and love, and I'm so excited for you to see the power of families coming together to stand up for the most vulnerable amongst us, our children. The goal is to bring together this army of hope starting this 4th of July, 1 million strong, for the 100,000 kids in America who need a home. Click the link below or go to angel.com/hope to get showtimes right now. Help us send a loud message together that there should never be a child without a home.
Amen.
Amen. We will not be seeing it on July 4th, but we will see it soon.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
I'm looking forward to it because
I'm crying just watching it.
Yeah, the quality of these movies coming out from Angel Studios is without equal. They're up with any studio you could name as far as the production value.
Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to the Deadpool and Wolverine movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. Come on,
It's just so nice that they're able to do this. They bypass the whole system and they're out there and they're doing it. It's awesome. So my understanding is that they're also working with the Daily Wire and they're all coming together, and we need to build our own culture. We just let
I
the crazies take over the
Sound of
culture.
Freedom actually helped a lot with that.
Yeah. Amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, please
Yeah.
do go see it. Also based on a true story. Watched interviews with the guy it's about. Is pretty.
Yeah,
Plus,
he's
I got to meet Jim Caviezel, so I mean, he'll always have a soft spot in my heart. I mean, he is Jesus, right?
Yeah. I'm not the Lord, but I played him in a movie. All right.
One last story. This one is all yours.
And this one is near and dear to my heart. I have some very important people in my life who are into interracial relationships, and it's sad that this was ever a thing to begin with. But let's talk about the now, shall we? On TikTok, where trends and sensations continually come and go, Mike and Geraldine Wirtz's love story easily captivates viewers with every scroll and tap. The couple began to share photos and videos of their life on TikTok to connect with their children and grandchildren during the pandemic. Now, users head to their page to watch their love story play out across various posts and photos featuring old glossy printed photographs of their early days as a couple in the 1970s to their lives throughout the decades as they welcomed children and took on new adventures. All the while, the Wirtz's photos play over the nostalgic vocal harmonies of classics like Otis Redding and Mary Wells. The couple has carved out a small but impactful corner of TikTok, inviting viewers to share their love and learn what it means to foster a healthy long-term relationship.
If we had more things like this on TikTok, it wouldn't be such a horrible place.
Yeah. The Wirtzes are also active on the platform in such a way that their followers feel comfortable asking them all sorts of questions and comments, including, was legal when y'all got married? The question unleashed more than 900 other responses. Even in 2024, many of their followers on TikTok are interested in how their different races influenced their first meeting and their dynamic all these years later. And there's a great picture of that couple when they were younger. Speaking to Today.com, the couple recalls what they noticed about each other the first time they caught glimpses of each other while gathered around a pool in their apartment complex. I had seen Jerry, and I knew she was a girl I could be interested in, Mike Wirtz recalls. He was pretty attractive and very mature, Geraldine Wirtz adds before agreeing that race didn't come to mind as a concern as they checked each other out. Look at those crazy kids. It was 1976 in California, thousands of miles away from Virginia, where in the late 1950s, Richard and Mildred Loving were criminally charged for violating a state ban on interracial marriage.
In Virginia.
In Virginia. By 1968, when the Wirtzes were in high school, the Supreme Court struck down state laws across the country banning marriage between individuals of different races in the famous Loving versus Virginia decision.
Thing? I don't understand. Okay, different time, but why was that a thing?
There's no justifying it. There's no defending it. California has allowed interracial marriage since 1948. Mike and Geraldine Wirtz recall that by the time they met in 1976, they both had made meaningful friendships with people of other races. Maybe I was naive, and I'm in that same age group, and I didn't think about it when I was a kid. I mean, I knew there were some cultural differences, but it wasn't a negative thing with me.
I was a child in the 1970s, and I knew people that were interracial marriages.
Maybe I was naive, but I didn't think anything of that. Mike Wirtz says, I thought, I like this girl. She's very attractive, and I'm interested in her. And so we just started dating. Obviously, I realized it was an interracial type of situation. I didn't feel overwhelmed by it, though, because I think one thing that helped was eventually when she met my parents, they welcomed her with open arms, and her family was the same way with me.
In fact, my baby sister, one of her best friends, was a little girl that her dad was black and her mom was white.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, that child turned out beautiful. Holy moly. That is a lovely picture.
That's a great picture. We knew that prejudice was out there and people would probably be looking at us, but we didn't look for that, Geraldine Wirtz said. We didn't, engage in it. After all, there were more exciting things to focus on, they said. That wedding picture in the church is amazing.
That one is lovely.
1 year after meeting, Mike and Geraldine Wirtz tied the knot in 1977. Soon after, they welcomed 2 children, Nicole and Ryan. All right. The Wirtzes agree that they have more than lived up to their wedding vows. They supported and they cherished each other throughout the years as they pursued careers and both dealt with illnesses. In June 2017, Geraldine Wirtz was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, no.
A few years later, in Mike 2020, I actually said that. In August 2020, Mike Wirtz was diagnosed with prostate cancer. I give her all the credit in the world because I don't know if it was me, if I would be as determined as she is to just keep pressing forward, Mike Wirtz says of his wife. She goes through a lot. Anyone who's gone through a serious battle with cancer knows what she's gone through, and it's not easy. Geraldine Wirtz has posted about her stage 4 breast cancer journey on social media too, most recently sharing on her Instagram page in January that she's fought through chemo and radiation and refused to give up. These days, the Wirtzes say their lives are all about enjoying retirement, their 3 grandchildren, whom they describe as their pride and joy, and of course, whatever their newfound TikTok fandom throws their way.
I love these old pictures.
Aren't they fantastic? That is fantastic. Let's see, there's a little bit more. I'm not like Jerry. I don't embrace it as much as Wirtz, a self-described introvert. We're doing something that we enjoy and we're having fun at it. And I would never in a million years guess that other people would be interested in watching these videos. I like it. I love it. I think it's fun, says Geraldine Wirtz. I get to tease my younger friends that are working on becoming influencers and you don't have a lot of followers. I'm 72 years old and I'm a YouTuber and influencer. It's fun and funny for us.
That is cute.
Well, congratulations, you two.
They figured out how to use it. I still don't know how to use it. I'm not really even on it. Well, folks, it has been fun.
It was fun.
I love ending on a happy note, especially since I spent 90% of this entire podcast ranting, and I had a lot to rant about.
It was justified.
I leave on a good note. I leave in a happy mood, gazing into the eyes of our kitten who's crawled into Daddy's lap, and I think he's indicating that it's time for us to go to bed.
Indeed.
And may you have pleasant dreams. Yeah, except you're probably going to listen to this in the morning. So may you have a great day. And whatever you do for the rest of the week, I hope it's magnificent. And we will see you next week.
Bye, folks. CounterCultureWISE is a Stormcat production.
Thank you for joining our growing family of listeners. All links from the show are available on our website, CounterCultureWISE.com. Find our archives on any of your favorite podcast hosts.
We engage in satire, commentary, and generally laugh at the ridiculousness of our crumbling society. Our only medical or financial advice is to not follow any financial or medical advice given by podcasters.
Our animations, interviews, Holy Crap segment, and other videos are put out on BitChute and Rumble, and only in part on YouTube because they hate free speech.
Our show is entirely funded by listeners like you. Visit our ever-expanding merch store or our Subscribe Star, where you can get outtakes, extra videos, and sneak peeks.
If you would like to be a guest on our program, feel free to contact us via our website. Just click on the link at the top that says, "Be a guest on our show."
For more fun and cat pics, please visit our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For complaints about our show, please fill out the ID10T form on our website, and we will give it the attention it deserves.
Meanwhile, no matter how cruel the world may be around you, always remember the importance of kindness. Be kind to each other, be kind to animals, and be kind to yourself. See you next week.